How are we all? Just waiting for Baz. I know the game's still ongoing and I ain't got no eyes on it at the moment, so if anything happens, if you can let me know in the chat, that would be blinding. Also start chucking in your questions if you want, everyone, and we'll go through them as soon as Baz jumps in. He's just joining now. Hello, mate. I've got no eyes on it, mate. Have you?
Yeah, I've got it on, yeah.
Let me know if anything happens, please, pal.
Are we live?
We are.
Oh, we are live and kicking. I didn't know it was already in.
Live and kicking, mate. We got started nice and early.
91 minutes. Mate, the fact we ain't seen Ben Rama come into this game tells you that starting 11 was everything you need to know, set up to try and get a draw at home against Brighton. But I called on here earlier on about David Moyes giving him a contract. No chance after this. I couldn't think of anything better than that man leaving this job now. No matter what he's done. No, I'm serious. No matter what he's done up till now, that's enough. That is enough, mate. If that's our future, I don't ever want to see it, personally.
It's driven me to the whiskey, mate. I'm having to have a bit of the old...
Good luck to you, mate. I'm still on the flavoured water. But, no, mate, I don't want to see that anywhere near West Ham. The fact you set up with 8 defensive players at home against Brighton, the side in poor form, from bottom of the league, that's enough for me. More than enough. And then had no intentions of the changes. Mate, he's clueless. Ain't got a clue. You know, and this goes back to comments we've made before about all these staff around him. That sums them up as well, if nothing can happen. And I want to know what Ben Rama's done wrong. Is he been shagging his daughter like Zahara was meant to have done at Man United, as someone tweeted earlier? Embarrassing. People are going to moan about VAR for that goal. I understand it's gone against us. It should be ruled out. I don't dispute that. The bigger worry for me is what the fuck has our manager done setting up this way and continue to go through the game in this way, in this manner. Embarrassing, mate. I do not. I'm glad I own a season ticket over and pay to watch this shit whenever I could have gone. I would not pay to watch that crap for toffee.
From start to finish there, mate, lineups came out and it went downhill from there, didn't it, mate, to be quite honest? I think we all knew the lineup was wrong. It was odd. I just don't know where it come from. We said before the game we just wanted to see something different. Well, we certainly got that, but I'm not sure it was a good different, mate. It was a very, very... very strange lineup.
Absolute shit. And you've got people calling out Gary Neville must hate West Ham with things he said. Gary Neville has said everything that every West Ham fan has been tweeting since the start of since the team was announced at the start of the game to half time. But he hates West Ham. Hey, don't he just spoke honest? And he spoke realistically about West Ham. Absolute shit lineup, absolute shit performance. Everything about it.
I don't understand, mate. You know where you've got the way Moyes sort of knocks people's confidence at times and so on. You know, Fornals has been an integral part of that team since the beginning of the season, really. And everyone's been crying for him to come out of the starting lineup, to try something different because he's not been quite effective in the role that he's been playing for us and everything else. Today, he gets dragged out of the team. But he don't even get to come on the pitch. You know, there were times where really you could have thought, you know, Fornals could give us something a bit different here, give us another option, do whatever. But Moyes, he can't just do something where he gives the person a bit of a lesson, leaving them on the bench or giving them a bit of an incentive.
We've got one last chance. He's seconds up. This ball's just got to be put into the box. And you've got to write.
But why have we not been putting the ball into the box today, mate? Second highest concedes from set pieces, and we do short set pieces. Why?
Mate, not even that. Why have we gone 2-2 at home against this side and not introduced another attacking player and still stayed defensive? I'll tell you why. Because the man that sits in the manager's seat has not got a fucking clue. It's gone in the keeper's hands. That'll be it full time. Fucking embarrassing, mate. Honestly, I swear to it. I stand by this now. I've defended him the whole time up till now. And I thought he had done well to have turned us round. That is a fucking embarrassment. And that deserves to be sacked. For them reasons alone. Mate, honestly, that to set up at home against Brighton, something's fucking wrong. If you're happy to go and play Brighton and get a point, and go with 8 defensive players. Everyone's been slagging off Mark Noble. You know, Mark Noble's not a number 10. It's clear. We all knew that before a ball was kicked. Mate, before you carry on.
I know you love the boy.
No, it's nothing to do with me loving him. Before a ball was kicked today, we all knew what his input would be. 0. We knew it. And David Moyes has allowed that to happen. Again, that's
Mate,
not
you
Mark
could
Noble's
play
fault,
Mark
that's the
Noble in
manager's
any
fault.
position on that pitch and he would offer nothing. His time is up. It's gone. We moved forwards as a football club.
Richard Dodds, no, I wouldn't give him one, no.
We took Noble out the side. We moved forward with players who had work rate, who had energy, who had running in them, who had everything. We took him out. And all of a sudden, Moyes has got this thing in his head where he just wants to bring Noble back into the frame again. It doesn't make any sense. Noble,
Mate,
you could play him in any position, in any role you want on that pitch today, and he doesn't offer nothing. His time is up. It's over. It's gone. Well, I'll tell you why you will agree, and you cannot agree all you like, but I'll tell you why you will agree, because that bet that we had that we won't win another game while Noble starts will absolutely come to truth, and it will. That I'm telling you, we will never win. And well, if you're happy with Noble starting every game from now until the end of his career, and us never winning another game when he starts, then it's no good. I ain't making anything up.
I've not said I'd be happy for him to start every game from now till the end of the season.
I didn't say that either. I said if you're happy for Noble to start every game and us not win any of those games, and you still think he's got a role to play at the club, you're off your nut, mate.
No, I'm not.
Because at the end of the day,
Mark Noble's not a number 10.
He's not anything anymore. He's nothing no more. He's done. As soon as he's in, you could play him as the holding in that three. If you play Noble, Rice and Souček in any way you want with that three in the middle of the park, they all suffer because Noble's in there. It's not me being horrible to him, but it doesn't matter whatever way you play Mark Noble. His time is just up. We've moved on, and any time that he plays next to those other two have a worse game. He was absolutely awful today. He's gone, mate. There were times, when Noble used to get his foot on the ball and used to be able to pass it around, and he used to be able to put in a tackle, and used to be able to do. Mate, he can't do any of it no more. It's gone. He's just finished. Absolutely finished.
He can't play number 10, you're right. And Haller can't play up front on his own. We talk about that every week. And Fornals can't play as the left winger every week. But I agree with you. All of them things I completely and utterly agree with. Totally and utterly agree. Completely.
It's just done. It annoys me. Do you know what? Do you know why he isn't done? Because to bring him on in the 80th minute of a game to shore something up, he may be able to still offer that. That might be what he can offer. But as a starting player in that side, we'd moved on. We'd got rid of that. We'd got rid of him being captain. All of a sudden, Rice was our captain. Rice was our man. He was our leader. He was our general, and he was looking unbelievable. All of a sudden, Noble's come back in. He's taken the armband back, and West Ham United at this moment in time are going backwards every single week. And everyone who said against Chelsea that we just got beat by the better side, well, you was wrong. Because West Ham at the moment are on a backwards trail, mate. We are absolutely going backwards as a football club fast. David Moyes.
Okay, not Mark Noble. I just want to check.
David Moyes.
Mark Noble.
It's not, mate, none of it is Mark Noble's fault. When you see him have an interview, I think even Mark, and we said it in the group chat, in the WhatsApp chat during the game, someone not Mark Noble for someone who might be knocking on the door, demanding to be played, demanding to be captain. I don't think that's right. I think Mark Noble, when he has an interview, I think he knows that he shouldn't be the man who's starting anymore. I think he knows that Rice is the captain of this football club. I actually think Noble knows all of that. And I'm not sitting here blaming Mark Noble for a second. I'm blaming David Moyes for making West Ham move forward by taking Noble out finally and giving us a new captain, and now all of a sudden he's got it in his head that Mark Noble needs to be in the starting lineup again, and he shouldn't be, and that's the problem. He shouldn't be in the starting lineup in any position, not in a holding midfield, not in central midfield, not in a number 10, not in any role. He causes Souček, and when Souček and Rice play in there together and they've got that man in front of them, they play with a freedom. They just gel off each other. One goes, one sits, and everything else. When Noble's in there, mate, the pair of them at lost. Declan Rice had his worst game for West Ham in a very, very long time today. And I do put that down to the way that midfield three was set up. I don't think it works for him at all. It's not right.
I agree with you. It's not right. It doesn't work. Mark Noble shouldn't be at the front of a midfield three. Completely agree with you. 100%. That don't mean he's finished and don't have a role to play. It means he's not a number 10. I think if you played Mark Noble alongside Rice or Souček, I'm not saying you'd get the same outcome, but I think you'd still do it right if the setup was right. if the setup was right. If you're playing counter-attacking forward, hoping Mark Noble's going to give you pace, then no, you're mad. But the bigger problem is, and again, everyone, as I said, everyone's going to blame Mark Noble and VAR today.
I don't think they will, mate.
The biggest problem from the outset, and it was clear to see at 1:15 when the team was announced what the problem was. All of that falls on the manager's shoulders. No blame should go anywhere else. Not we was unlucky by VAR. It should have been handball. It should have been 2-1. The whole blame falls to the shoulders of that manager. That team selection was poor. The team setup was poor. To allow Brighton and Hove Albion, who are were full from bottom in the Premier League, to come to your own ground and dictate the play, and you only have just over a third of the possession in 45 minutes of football is embarrassing. That is what that man's allowed to do. That's not the first time. This isn't the first time he's done that. We've got away with it. And Kent said it other times. He's a regular on it. And I'll say we were overachieving.
Yeah,
being up where we were. We haven't been good to be there. Like
I'm going to flip this a little bit, though, mate. I'm going to flip this a little bit. We're all sitting here, pissed off at the performance, pissed off at the result, and none of us seem to be happy, right? However, the way Moyes set up, he's just got exactly what he wanted out of that game today. He got a point. He wanted that point, and he got that point. David Moyes is probably very, very happy with the outcome of that game.
Of course he will. Because
he's probably over the moon with it, mate. He's probably over the moon with it.
Closer to his job, to another contract extension.
He'll be sitting there. You know his stubbornness and arrogance when he sits there and goes, "That's what I do. I win," and he gives it all that. He's probably sitting there now going, with the injuries we've got, with the problems we've got, that's another point on the board. Moyes, I'm telling you now, will be walking into that dressing room quite happy with themselves. Quite happy with themselves.
Embarrassing. The whole lot, from start to finish, embarrassing. And that's why... But
look, this is what you get, Baz. This is what you get. T has put it in. Moyes got it right. Possession, most overrated stat in football. We set up to counter-attack, so of course we won't have a higher possession. People will sit there today and say, the point, respect the point.
And we set up to counter-attack with 2 attacking players in the team. That's enough.
And
that's
no
all
pace.
You need to know. Not zero pace, but that is all. The only one who has a little bit of pace out of that is Jared Bowen. But Moyes got it right. I'll give up. Honestly, I'll give up. And if you want to talk about it being right, when you come back to 1-1 in a football match, you attack a side. When you come back to 2-2, you attack a side. We did not see a substitute after 2-2. We did not bring on the person who's got that pace for a counter-attacking football, Ben Rama, in 90 minutes. Do not tell me that man got that right today, please. That is embarrassing. Completely and utterly embarrassing. And what it is, it's naive, it's negative. And all it is like you just said, it's respect the point. Same as Alan Kirbishley. Get 30, 40 points and the season's finished it safe. We've got 20, have we? How many have we got? 21, 22 now? Yeah. And that's it. Our season's over. Because what they'll just try and nick the odd few points here. It's not about impressing. We went to Leicester, a great side, Leicester, and outplayed them. Played them off the park, having a go at them. I know we've not got Mikel Antonio, but what we had Lanzini, Fornals, Benrahma, all sat on a bench today at home against Brighton and Hove Albion. Tell me you're interested in watching your manager pick teams like that week in, week out. Not for me. No way. And I mean it. I back that man. I even said it this morning on today's live. I would give him a contract because that's where West Ham are at. There's no manager that could come in tomorrow for David Moyes and take us further forward. All the while, the people that own us. That is the problem. But that setup today is embarrassing. I would rather West Ham get beaten today 3-4-0 at home against Brighton for having a go than drawing 2-2 with a side fourth from bottom in the fucking Premier League and being so shit. That's embarrassing. Completely and utterly embarrassing.
It is, mate.
I might dash me chair or something, if you don't mind.
Dash your chair. But this is what you get. Kyle, mate, we're all entitled to our opinions here. You're more than welcome to come on, have a phone in. Anyone who wants to email us, come in and have your say. If you think that, we're being too negative, come on and we'll debate it. But why are we already Debbie Downing? It's one game. It's not one game. It's probably 5 games now in a row that we've looked poor, really poor. We're going backwards. Every week we go further. But, mate, today, I've got to be honest, I'm over the moon with that point. And the reason I'm over the moon with a point is because when I saw the lineup, I never thought we'd get anything. I didn't think we'd score a goal. How we scored 2 goals today, I'll never know. James Fever, you phone in, just email claretandbluearmytv@gmail.com and we'll send you a link and we'll bring you in, mate. I never thought we'd score 2 goals today. The first half, we didn't have a shot on target, which wasn't a surprise. I think we all said that.
The Brighton goal shouldn't have counted. Here we go. No, and we shouldn't be a team at home setting up with 8 defensive players against Brighton and Hove Albion, full from the bottom of the Premier League. That's what we shouldn't be. That's what you want to worry about, because it will carry on and carry on and carry on. And I said this. Trevor Sinclair tweeted, you could see the game plan. Tire him out for 60 minutes and hit him on the counter. The problem with that, as I responded to him, is if you concede within that 60 minutes. And we did, because we don't have another game plan to get out of it. You talk about it's just the last couple of games. It ain't. We beat Fulham 1-0, luckily. They missed the last-minute penalty. We didn't deserve to dominate and win that game. We beat Aston Villa at home for a last-minute offside goal that should have been a penalty. Got out of jail with that. We beat Leeds. In fairness, a good result. Manchester United, we played well for one half and then folded the second half and we're battered.
I agree. But this again is some of the problem that we're going to see. Andy, mate, we love you and you come on here, mate. You support the channel and I really respect it. The only positive today is a goal from Ben Johnson, mate. I'm over the moon that kid got a goal. I'm over the moon that he got his first senior goal for us. He's been with us for it was an okay finish. He just had to hit it and it was always going to go in. It was right in front of goal. But he looked so out of position today. Every time he went forward, didn't know what to do with it. All you'll hear is positivity about Ben Johnson today because he got a goal. Other than that, mate, he was really poor and looked absolutely lost on that football pitch. So it's a tough one for me. I think you'll see a lot of people bigging Ben Johnson up today, but I don't think he had a very good game at all, to be quite honest. Kent's in, first half awful, second half better, but we was lucky as anything, agreed. If I was a Brighton player or fan, I'd be gutted right now. Yeah, totally agree. Saints will beat us easy if we play like that with no intensity. Mate, Saints would tear us apart if we play like that. We really
Saints
can't afford to play like that.
Will destroy us.
Yeah, not good. Right, I think we've got someone who wants to come in now, mate. So I'm just going to bring them in 1 second. We have got Tommy who wants to come in. Good afternoon, Tommy.
You right, boys?
How are you, mate?
How you doing, mate?
It's another game like the Crystal Palace where I turned the game off after 10 minutes.
After 10 minutes?
Yeah, I just like the Crystal Palace game. I just watched it. I was like, what's this? I remember when the lineup come out, I was thinking, no, this can't be real. I was like, this must be a joke. It come up on the website as a 4-2-3-1 with Ben Johnson on the left. I was like, all right, it's going to be a back 5. I was thinking, you got Yarmolenko, Lanzini, Ben Rama on the bench. I was like, that's shocking. At home as well. It reminded me of last season, before January, we had no pace. Brighton passed the ball. You need pace to shut them down. Obviously Moyes has done well, but it's frustrating. It's the same again when we play these crap teams at home. We don't do anything. We just come up for the big games, and against these small teams, we don't put. It's just it's frustrating.
Did you understand any of that lineup today, mate?
Not at all. I don't get. Look, I love Noble. Noble's a legend of the club, but I think for the last 5, ever since the 15-16 season, he shouldn't be playing. I think you got to get some people more like you should go. All right, I'll step down now. I've had my time. Let youngsters or people that are better than me come in. I don't know why he started against
Mate, on that, do you not think he does think that, and do you not think he has said that? So when the manager says to him, "You're starting today," do you think he should say, "I don't want to play this better than me"?
I don't. Yeah, but with him,
no, do you? I don't think he should, and I don't think he ever would.
No, I don't.
I've seen many people say this, and that's why I'm asking you. I think it's a crazy thing to say. I do believe he's played in the total wrong position. I do believe that. Yeah. And it wouldn't surprise me if Mark Noble did turn around and say something like, "I ain't the number 10 gaffer." Wouldn't surprise me that. I don't think he's ever going to say, "I don't want to play. I'm not good enough to play there. There's better than me."
No, I don't think he would. But it's obviously, I'd say that, innit? Because obviously, I'd want. But it's fair play to Noble. I just think his legs are gone. I just think, I don't know why we're playing 3 in midfield, with Noble as cam. You know what Noble's like? He always drops. He drops to get the ball as well. And, I don't know.
Tommy, 1 sec. Sorry, mate. Hey, I can't pronounce it. What's that called? Hey Duaro. Where did he play today then, out of interest? Because it seems everybody else has said he played number 10, but you're saying he played somewhere else. I don't know where he played. Tommy, where do you think Mark Noble started today? What position?
You know what he does with Noble? I think he was supposed to play in the camp, but he always drops to get the ball. Like, he drops to the back four.
But he don't just drop backwards, mate. He drifts wide. He drifts everywhere.
Yeah, that's the thing.
He wasn't a number 10. He was free. Ain't the number 10?
He was free. The only player that we need to free, mate, is #free Ben Rama. That's what we need, because at the moment he's been locked up in a flipping cage and we don't see him now.
He's like Anderson now. He comes on for 10 minutes. Like, what are you supposed to do in 10 minutes when you come? And when he does come on, he even gets an assist. Like, what are you supposed to do?
I'm beaten here.
It's tough, mate.
I'm beaten. I can't believe that Noble had a free role, but he won the number 10. I honestly thought the number 10 was the free role and to create and get the player points.
I'm just confused.
Tommy, it's nothing against you. It's just a comment in the box, mate. He's beating me.
I'm just well confused where we're at the minute. Like, we've had a good start and everything. I think it's just as us West Ham fans, we're like, we have a good start, then we're like, oh yeah, we can push on now. And now we're like dropping back. We're like, I think the ball, like, I think with us, we have a good start, and I think some people forget what's the main thing that's wrong with the club, which is the owners.
Yeah, agreed.
Like, when we bought Benrahma, most people are like, oh yeah, but then people forget. It's like with Arsenal, isn't it? Like, they bought Thomas Partey, and they forget about what the main problem is with the club, which is the board. Yeah.
We done that when Benrahma signed. Many fans fell into that trap and thought it was all the saving piece. And do you know what? I'd like to know what he's done so wrong to not feature enough for us and not get enough minutes, because from what we've seen, he's a starter in my opinion, let alone someone who doesn't even come on. You know, where's Yarmolenko been the last few games? It's not featured yet. Benrahma has, and today it's the other way around. I don't understand it. It's confusing for me, really confusing. But that, for me, is about an inadequate manager, and I think that's what we've got. I praised him because I thought he firmed us up at the back. I thought he was starting to be a bit more, create a bit more adventurous. But watching this is, I could never watch that again. And that starting lineup today alone against the, do you know, if we was playing Man City today, I'd kind of understand it.
Yeah,
I still wouldn't want to see it, but I'd understand it. That lineup for me today has told me everything I want to know about David Moyes, and that is, I don't want him at West Ham for the foreseeable future.
Like, I was unhappy with the Chelsea line. Like, I was thinking, we're not fighting for relegation, are we? So why are we going all conservative? I'd rather us just go out against Chelsea. They haven't been good recently. Go for the throat. Instead, you put Noble in, and then you like, we need pace. We need to be a threat. Why? Like, when we was against Chelsea, we looked toothless. I thought we played quite well. We just didn't have the end product. I was thinking, why are you going conservative? We're playing Chelsea, who have had last 2 defeats, and you're just going conservative. I just don't get like today. Like, we ain't in a relegation battle. They're talking about clean sheet, so he wants to have a clean sheet. You want a clean sheet when you're fighting relegation more. So why are we worried about that?
I quite agree with you, mate, to be honest. But when you say we're not in a relegation battle, I do agree we're not. We're 11 points off of that.
Fall back. We've seen it over the
But,
years.
mate, we're only 11 points off of it. That's where we're at now, 11 points. And we was talking of only being 5 points off the top. All of a sudden, we're now 9 points off the top and 11 points off the safety. So we're getting dragged closer to that than further away from up the top. That's the worry. We had to win today. Had to win.
To keep at least keep with them. Like Southampton, they said, Neville said, like, West Ham should win today to keep, like, because we 4 points off Southampton today. Now we're 3, aren't we? Like,
yeah, exactly that.
Instead of getting grabbed. Look, I did want Moyes the second time. I was thinking he's got a point to prove. Let him come in. First time I didn't want him. Second time I was like, look, with Pellegrini, he just wanted a paycheck. That's all he wanted. But with Moyes, I thought, you know what? Maybe he wants to prove himself again. See what he can do. He's watched all these RB, even though they said, he's watched all the RB Leipzig and he wants to do that more. I was like, look, let him come in, see what he does. He kept us up. I said, I don't want to give him a new contract yet. I'd wait till the end of the season. Honestly, I would.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. I'll be honest with you, and I'll say it now, and I'll probably get grief, and I don't care. I don't want to see that man be given a contract at West Ham. Not after today. I don't want it. He doesn't deserve one after today. To set up like that, if that's what the owners are happy with, their manager, playing for a draw against fourth from bottom of the league in the Premier League, when you're meant to have a little bit of ambition and meant you have turned the corner and doing all right now, if you're happy for that, I'm sorry, you ain't got much want in life. And for me, I want more than that.
I'm finished with Haller now. Like, I've backed him. With Haller, I think when he wins the ball about 10, probably once in 10, and when he does win it, he does something good. Like, he wins it about once in 10. And it's annoying.
He doesn't. Tommy, I agree with you. He doesn't offer enough for that system at all. I completely agree, and he has to do more, and he doesn't do enough.
He's like a mix between Andy Carroll and a Colin Cole. Honestly, he's like that.
Yeah, and the way we play, you're totally right. I completely and utterly agree with you that you're totally right. I don't think he's a bad player. I think he's a very bad player in the way we play. But we keep doing it, and again, this is a manager's problem. This is a manager consistently exposing players. And a manager that keeps doing what we know isn't working. This isn't the first week. It's not worked. This is the third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh.
It's the
week.
fifth.
We all know it.
In a row.
There you go. We all know it, but it's all the same all the time. It's disgusting.
He has tried something different today, mate. He's gone to a back five again. He's taken Fornals out. You know, he's put Ben Johnson. He has tried something different today, but it weren't enough, mate. Haller was still massively isolated. In fact, Haller was more isolated today than he has been in recent weeks, because at least Fornals does try and get involved a little bit. Ben Johnson couldn't do any attacking today whatsoever. It's not his game. It's not how he plays football. So it was really, really tough today. And, well, Tommy, going into the Southampton game, mate, what's got to change for that?
I don't know, because when we went to back, when was it? During the game we went to a back four. What game was it? And I thought we played all right. I thought we actually.
Yeah, I do remember. It was the first. Yeah, I know what game you're talking about, mate.
The games with the back four, I think we've adjusted quite well. I thought, we'll go to a back four and that's it. Like, we'll start losing games left, right, and centre. But I thought, you know what? To be fair, we've actually adapted back to a back four, all right. Like, we're all right. Not as good, but we ain't gone down level. We
didn't look as shaky in defence, mate, but it definitely stopped us having some attacking threat. Since we went to the back four, we're not having anywhere near as many chances in games for whatever reason.
I just don't know why Ben Rama can't start, or I think Lanzini's looked really good this season when he's come on. And
Lanzini's looked really good, mate.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, if he's playing well, then start him. Like, I just don't know. Southampton, if we play like that, we're going to get smashed.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Well.
We have just round the corner, mate. The thing is, you know, we've got another game just round the corner. 2 days' time, we go again at Southampton. We're all sitting here. We're not happy. I personally think David Moyes is happy. I think David Moyes got exactly what he wanted out of that game today, which was a point. So I think David Moyes will be over the moon. I think he'll be walking back into that dressing room very, very happy with the fact that we've nicked a point there. And we did nick the point. You know, I don't think we deserved the point, but somehow we've come away with something out of that game. We go into the Southampton game, and who knows? Tommy, mate, thank you for coming on. We've got some other people that want to come in. But cheers for that.
One last thing.
Go on, mate.
Is it Skylar? Or is it
Isla?
Yeah, because I still got. I bought the Pyatt shirt at the game, innit? I still got the Pyatt shirt.
Top man.
I won the raffle. I said to my mum, I said, she was well excited. I was like, it's Pyatt's shirt, and I was like, at least it's £200 though for the little girl, innit? So I was like, it's all right.
Fair play, mate. Top man.
Mate, that's still a proper item, that, mate. He was still one of the best I've ever seen, mate. So you can't knock that.
No, you can't. No, but he was for a good cause. But no, thanks very much, guys.
Top man, mate. Cheers, buddy.
See you later.
All the best.
Right, let's bring James straight in, mate. James, good to have you back, mate. What did you make of that? First of all, let's go right to the beginning. What did you think when the starting lineup came out?
Uninspiring. I thought it was too defensive. I messaged Baz. I didn't understand why we had Noble in there for me. Lanzini, Fornals, Ben Rama, any one of them three should have been in place of Noble. I actually liked putting Johnson in, left wing back. I'd sort of mentioned that a couple of weeks ago. I thought it was a good idea to try it. Yes, he popped up a goal. I don't think he's a left wing back though, so I think that experiment's done for me. I think we don't go there again.
He actually offers you defensive cover, I think. Yeah, I just think he gets clueless when he goes forward.
Yeah, exactly. And the problem was there was a couple of times in the first half where he got forward and he got a peg on him, to be fair. He looks like he's right footed, but he's definitely got a left peg on him. He swung the left foot, but the ball was just sailing over. There was no end product, which is, if you're the left wing back and you're getting forward, you've got to have the end product, and that wasn't there for me. So I think the Ben Johnson left wing back piece has sailed for me. I think we, potentially have to revert back to a back four now against Southampton, or you push Cresswell into left wing back potentially. But then I think there's question marks over whether Cresswell can play left wing back or not. But fair play to Johnson. Popped up with a goal. I'm sure he's delighted. It was his first as for the senior team. So fair play there. But as I say, for me, that lineup was way too defensive. And I've got a mate who's a Brighton fan, and he messaged me and said, that's a sensible starting 11. And I went, why? And he said, you'll get us on the counter. And I'm like, but hang on a minute, we're at home, right? It's Brighton, you're in the bottom 4-5. Why are we trying to catch you guys on the counter at our place? We should be going into that game saying, we're West Ham, we're above you in the league, we'll play you off the park. But what other club, what other team would sit there and go, you know what, bottom 4-5 come along, we're gonna play them, sort of play our tactics to try and beat that. We're like, no, go and dominate it. We know we're better than them. When we brought on the players in the second half, Lanzini came on, Yarmolenko came on. Well, it's a much better team. It's much improved. Yep. If we'd just started with, as I say, some more creative players, and we could have had Brighton on the back foot. I mean,
why does that happen though, mate? Every single game that we have, we want massive changes at half time. How comes our starting lineup is always wrong? It comes to half time when we've got to bring two players on to try and put it right. Can't we just get it right from the start and not have to worry about that?
But then you've got to look at Moyes. What is Moyes' mindset going into that game? Is it, and I've heard you guys say, is he looking for the point, really?
I think he was today. I really do.
But to what end?
I think.
But to what end?
Sorry.
Yeah, I was going to say he's going to Southampton away.
Sorry. I think he tries to close teams out for an hour. That's what I think he tries to do. And then he tries to have them on the counter. But as soon as you can see, as I said earlier, and I said the same in that tweet to Sinclair, as soon as you concede within that time, your whole game plan is out the window. Completely and utterly shot to pieces.
Yeah.
And we do it all the time. But he doesn't know anything. He cannot come out of a game on the front foot. He can. He's proved he can. But we can only do that with Mikel Antonio. We've done that at Leicester. And we've done it very well.
And Wolves.
When he's not in that side, all we want to do is just suck the ball in. Just keep it. Just don't let him in. Just keep the pressure on, and then we'll hit him on one counter-attack. And he tried counter-attacking football today with Jared Bowen and Sebastian Haller as our only two forward-going players. That tells you how adequate that man is to manage in the Premier League for me. And I've not questioned him like that up until now. And I've said, today has told me everything I need to know. I know it's a tough time of year. I know there's games thick and fast. There's plenty of players that could have played today. I don't think Johnson was the answer as left wing back. He done well today with his goal. I'm not going to take it away from him. I don't think that's his answer today. You have to play to your strengths. Stop forcing players in wrong positions. We've done that with Ben Johnson again today. We forced him to play where he isn't comfortable. And we've said his final balls weren't very good. Well, I'm not surprised. He's a right back playing left wing back. That's not his fault.
Agreed. But Baz, just to counter that, right? You've got to look at this as well. And I saw this on Twitter, so I claim it as my stat. Right, back five. Right, we had 5 wins, 3 losses, 2 draws in 10 games. Right, back 4, which I assume was the last 4 games, 1 win, which was I think Villa potentially. 1 draw, 2 losses in 4 games. Right, so he's looked at that. Moyes has probably looked at that and gone, back 4's not working. I need to try and get us back to a back 5. I think that's what he's done there, right? So, and arguably, if we'd played a back 4 today and lost, we'd have said he should have played back 5. So, as I say, I think the Johnson experiment, for me, was the right thing to try and do against the lesser opposition. It hasn't worked out. I agree with you, Baz. I'm playing him there again. You've tried to force him into something. It hasn't worked out. Likewise, you could have, say, Fredericks go on to left wing back, right? That might work. I think we've got to look at trying getting into the back 5 while we can. While we can't go into the market in January, maybe we can pick a player up there. But while Masuaku's out, I think the right formation for us is a back 5. And we've got to try and find someone to fit that hole for now.
I agree with you, and I think I've been screaming for us to get back to a back five. We massively needed to get back to some of the form and the style of play that we had when we had that purple patch. But if you're going to play someone out of position, don't do it to a young kid. If you really want to do, and I know sometimes Ben Johnson's played as a left back, and that might make you have that sort of argument. But I'm telling you now, if you wanted to experiment in that way today, just play Ben Johnson on the right and then move someone else over to the left, or play Fredericks over on left. Do something. Don't. We knock kids' confidence, mate. Not only do we knock kids' confidence, but we knock some established players' confidence. We ruined Anderson. We're ruining Haller. Like we ruin players. You don't do that with a young kid, mate. It weren't right for him to play there today. I know he got his goal, and I'm over the moon for him, but he looked like a rabbit in headlights there today, mate, and he looked like he was really, really struggling with it, and it wasn't for me. I'm glad we got to that back five, but I think the personnel we was put in that lineup today was all wrong for me. I think we missed really key players, and the brightest player for me continuously at the moment is Lanzini. He come on against Palace, made something happen. He comes on today and he makes something happen, setting up Ben Johnson for the goal, yet that man can't get anywhere near the starting lineup, and I don't understand why.
But I agree with you about the back five. I do, and that's where we're at our most comfortable. When we've got players missing, we can't play it. So why are we accommodating players just to play it? We've got to play to another strength. This is what I can't get. You can't just put Cresswell as left wing back or Johnson as left wing back, because we know it's worked. Because the second you put Cresswell there, you've disrupted the three. As soon as you put Johnson there, you've not got the same left wing back. We haven't got the personnel to play that way. And when you haven't got it, you can't play it. You've just got to play to your strengths. The strengths we have at that football club, as it stands now, would be a back four. 100%. That's all there is. Whether it means that you sacrifice a Fornals because it's not working for him playing with him as the left winger, which it hasn't worked, so be it. You sacrifice him for, I'm going to give an example, not him, but maybe a Robert Snodgrass as the left midfielder. Because that's what his position is. Stop complicating it. And again, all we've done today, what's the word I'm looking for? We've just allowed, I can't think of the word is, we've allowed any player that manager wants in his starting 11 to come in and not played to the strengths of what's available for the football club. And that's why we got what we got today. Well, we didn't even deserve a point, I don't think. We got out that game. Them going in front was everything that should have happened in that game. And when Gary Neville said he's glad they got that goal, do you know what? I think so was every other West Ham fan in this country, because that's what they deserved. And that's punishment for setting up so negative.
Yeah, so I'll counter it though, Baz. I don't think the back five is wrong. I don't think the back five was wrong today. As I say, the back four is played in recent games. We've won one game. We've lost, it's not working out for us. But we were too negative. As I said at the beginning, I wouldn't have started Noble out of that, and we should have had a more forward-thinking player in that team. That's where it's gone wrong. If he changes that to a back four, I mean, it's about a question for you. Would you change it to a back four against Southampton?
100% I would. If there's no Antonio or Masuaku, I would. 100%. 100%. And you say we've only won one game. I agree. That's not the defense. That's not the back four's fault that our forwards couldn't have a shot on target against Chelsea. Because I'm sure if we had done that and scored a goal, we would have got back in that game.
But
that's
to counter that,
back fours aren't. That's not their
to counter that, Baz, is back five doesn't necessarily mean that you're defensive. When we was playing with a back five, we was having 19 shots on goal a game. We're having less shots with a back four than we was with a back five.
I agree, but when you play wing backs, your wing backs have to be able to defend, and when you play. I don't know.
I'm not sure, because Masuaku definitely can't defend.
But he gets back and helps out the left back and closes space.
But I think Fredericks would.
Stops crosses. I agree with you. I think Fredericks would. I complete. But who plays on the left? I wouldn't be playing a right wing back, left wing back, just to compensate it. No way in a million years. And that's why, for me, you have to play. You can't sit and say it doesn't work for Haller because of the way we're playing, yet be happy to put a right wing back, left wing back. You can't do that. Not for me, because that's the same argument why it's not working for Haller, because he's being played out of position. And you're going to do that to a right wing back.
But the point here would be, though, Baz, right? If he played a back four, Right, let's just go with it. He plays a back four. We win nothing. We're all going to be on Moyes' case saying he needs to change it up. He should go back to a back five. Guaranteed. So whatever he does here, he can't win.
I agree. Right? But we went to a back five today and drew at home against Brighton.
Yeah, but I don't think the back
five. No, that's the truth. We drew at home against Brighton with a back five and created nothing and had a third of the ball. 1-0 Liverpool. Created and we had a third of the ball. But that's what happened today.
Yeah, but we haven't beaten Brighton in 3 seasons, Baz. We've drawn 3 and lost 3 in 3.
But that's the performance today. You don't win games like that, playing like that. That's the big difference. No. That's got nothing to do with their bogey side. That's all to do with the performance. And that performance was terrible.
Look at the second half. Let's put the first half to one side, right? Let's look at the second half. We played better in the second half. We had Lanzini on there. We had Yarmolenko on there.
Agreed.
Both of those players, I didn't agree with Yarmolenko coming on, but I actually thought he did all right. Both of those players pushed us forward, pushed us up the path, made us look more dangerous going forward. Haller's link-up play was coming as well. And that was still with that back five. So we've had conversations around this before. When we were talking about Fornals a few games ago about playing in that left front three and saying it wasn't right for him, but he was doing okay. And the shape was right for us. And we're now
the left front three, it works for Fornals. It don't work as a left midfielder.
Well, we were debating, maybe you were agreeing, but people were debating around whether he should be up there or not, because he wasn't necessarily clinical in front of goal and everything else. And people were saying, get him out, put Ben Rama in. That's what they were saying, right? My point being here is that I understand what you're saying, that you haven't got the personnel to necessarily play left wing back, but I think that suits the team overall. Having one player potentially out of position, I think is the lesser of the two, even going to a back four where it doesn't suit us.
It's not one player, because it's also the forward. It's not just one player, it's the forward that's out of position as well that makes things tick when you play that way. The forward that plays that role has to do what Antonio does, and he doesn't. So you've just said Ben Johnson don't play left wing back for you. Who does against Southampton if you play 5 at the back?
I'd probably try Cresswell there.
So you're going to disrupt the back three. You'll disrupt the back three that was stable in 5 to try Cresswell as a wing back.
Yes. No, I don't think you have to try. Because last week against Chelsea, Cresswell was probably our most dangerous player offensively out of everyone else on that pitch. He was whipping balls into the box and he was trying to make things happen. He was awful defensively, but that's because he was playing a wing-back role in a back four, and that's why he got exposed and why people slated him for not having a good game. I actually think in a back five, I think Cresswell would do a very good job at being a wing because he delivers an absolute peach of a ball, and I think that's one of the biggest threats we've got in our side that we don't utilise enough, and that's Cresswell's deliveries, especially when you've got a big man in there like Haller who we've seen before pop up with headers and scores goal from headers. So I would do that, and
for me,
I would bring Diop into the middle.
When you play 5 at the back, you have to play with pace and you have to move the ball around quickly. That's exactly what you have to do. That's what Masuaku does. It's the quick one touches. It's what Antonio does. All the while, you've got slow players in that side. Don't matter whether you play 4 or 5. If you're playing that way, it ain't going to work. It won't work with us. And Cresswell ain't fast enough to play wing back, in my opinion. You have to have pace.
I think he can do a job there. I do think he can do a job there. And like we said, when we went to a back four, mate, we just don't win games. We just don't win football matches when we go to a back four. It's as simple as that.
And Soucek, and the other thing I was going to say, right, Soucek as well, for me, he played well today in that second half, got his goal again, but I don't think he's been as effective with us being in the back four either, for whatever reason. Right, he didn't seem to be getting us forward as much as he was in the previous games as well. Whereas today he was getting in that box in the second half, and he's obviously popped up with a goal again. So I think I would go back. I would keep the back 5 in. I'm still not 100% around Cresswell to left wing back for the Southampton game, but I think we need to keep a back 5, and we've got to try and find a solution. While Masuaku's out, to who we can get into that position.
I thought we played very well at Leeds and won at Leeds. I do think that with a back 4 and a bank of 4 in front of it, and then Ben Rama just behind Haller up top. I thought we played very well at Leeds, and that ain't an easy place to go and get a result.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
And
I can't.
you know,
like that.
Chelsea, we got beaten 3-0 flat at them. If you lose 1-0 to Chelsea, it's not a terrible result. The bad thing at Chelsea was we couldn't create chances and didn't score goals. That's not the back four's fault. Crystal Palace at home, we played with a back four, drew 1-1.
Yeah.
With Palace,
I actually think we are stable defensively with a
more
back four.
possession.
A lot of people said with a back four we would be shaky. I'm not blaming that on the back four. I don't think the back four knocks us defensively. I think we're organised enough now and confident enough to play with a back four. I think we had to go with a back five to stop conceding. I'm happy with a back four now, but mate, we didn't have a shot on target against Chelsea. We then didn't have a shot on target in the first half today. So, you know, there's something wrong. And like you said, that's playing with a back four and with a back five. No matter what we're playing with a back four or back five, in the last few weeks, we do not create chances. And that is where we're suffering.
You know what's coincidental out of both of them?
We had 135 minutes without having a shot on target at half-time today. 135 minutes without having a shot on target.
What's coincidental out of both of them two games? Both of them times. Who played the number 10 role?
Well, Mark Noble. Yeah, you're right.
That slows the game completely and utterly down.
No, you're right.
Who played in that number 10 role away at Leeds when we played with a back four?
Ben Rama. Yeah,
there you go.
Right. And he looked bright and he looked dangerous. Yeah, no, I agree.
And that's my point. I don't want to keep watching West Ham trying to play players out of position because it worked once or it worked a few times. The system worked because of Mikel Antonio, because of Arthur Masuaku. That system does not work without them. Why are we just trying different people in it? Try something different to what the strengths of them people that can play can bring to that side. And the strength is you go to a back four with Cresswell and Kufau as your fullbacks and your two centre-halves. And then you play two wingers who are going to work hard for your fullbacks. If you play with fullbacks and you play, I know he's not here, but Anderson in front of Cresswell, you're going to get the answers you got last time. You're going to see your left back exposed and your left midfielder be irrelevant, not even worth being there. You didn't see that when Fornals played left midfield. He grafted with Cresswell. It worked.
It works back.
And it works for Masuaku. And this is all. It's just simple. Just play to the strengths. Stop playing to what worked in games with the different players. I've said it and I'm going to say it again. That formation we play now with Antonio fit wouldn't work with Paolo Di Canio. But not one West Ham fan will tell you he's shit because he's not shit. But I promise you now, he would look complete and utterly shit in that team. Expecting to do what Antonio done because you wouldn't get that out of him.
Yeah, no, mate, you're right there, mate. Anything else before we move on, James?
No, just wish you both a Merry Christmas.
And you, mate, and you.
And you, buddy.
And I'm sure we'll chat after Southampton game.
Yeah, no, it'd be good, mate. It'd be good. But that's the sort of game that will go and surprise us in. You know what we're like, mate. These are the games that we never do particularly well in. And Southampton, when we're expecting them to come up and turn us over, we'll probably come out and be all guns blazing. So fingers crossed.
Exactly.
Top man, thank you for joining us, mate.
Have a good one, mate. No, you made some really good points there, Baz, mate, and I have to agree. You've shown me a new light on the sort of back four, back five argument, and I think you're pretty much spot on, mate. I
love a back five. I much prefer wing backs.
I won't say I love it, but let's be honest. Today we had a back five today. Half an hour in, we were sending messages in the WhatsApp group about how boring it was today, mate. We played horrible football. And not only that, mate, but someone put it in the chat this morning. When we went through that purple patch and when all was going well, that someone put in the chat this morning, but do you actually enjoy the football that we was playing then? And I have to be honest, I didn't. I didn't like the football. I didn't enjoy the football. But we was getting results. And I sort of was beat into submission of, you know what, I've got to take it, and I've got to take Moyes because he's getting results. So that's fair enough. A few of those games when we had that purple patch, we rode our luck. You know, the people were missing penalties, and we was getting away with it at times. It weren't pretty to watch. It weren't amazing football. I'm not saying I love it. I'm not saying I love it one little bit, but I just felt like we had to get back to some of that form that we had a little while ago. And my initial opinion was the way we do that is by going back to that system. But I think you're absolutely spot on, mate, that the biggest problem that we've had with the back four in the last couple of games has been the fact that Mark Noble's been played as the player who's supposed to be our creative man, and he's just not that.
And let's be right, that's not Mark Noble's fault. That's the manager's fault.
Yeah.
100% the manager's fault. When that team sheet's given, whether it's the night before or on the morning when they're all told who's playing, if anyone, and I had this tweet with someone earlier on, someone who follows the channel tweeted, Mark Noble's disrespecting the fans, saying that by accepting to play. If anyone thinks he should say, oh no, Gaffer, I can't play there, you have to pick someone else, go off your nut. Off your nut. Yeah, that's not being disrespectful to West Ham fans whatsoever, or not having bollocks as it was put. That's about him trying to do the best he can for that team in that job.
I did find it funny today, mate, as well, when the commentator turned around and said, you know, the fact that West Ham's missing Masuaku and he's not a key influential player within that team. I sat there and thought, mate, you don't know what you're talking about, because we all knew that if we picked our players. We all said if Masuaku gets an injury, Rice gets an injury, Suchek gets an injury, or Antonio gets an injury, we're going to be in trouble. Masuaku, while we haven't liked him in recent years, and I've not been his biggest fan, he was absolutely integral to the way we played in that system we was playing, and he was always going to be a big miss if he got injured. And then the inevitables happened, and we are suffering because of it. So whether you like it or not, he is important part of this team.
You know the problem as well. We've always said we're one injury away from a disaster. And when we say disaster, as in the way we play, the way we perform, but that injury is in a few places, and it's been proven. We've got 2 players out in key positions at the moment. Yeah. If them 2 come back for Southampton, not that they will, but if they were both back for Southampton, and then we lost Rice or Suchek, mate, we're back in the position we're in now, because we haven't got cover for either of them either. And who, for the way we play, do I think Mark Noble could do a job against the lower side? I do. I don't think he'll ever give you the counter-attacking football pace you need, ever. He's never had them legs, and he certainly hasn't got them now. And if you want that from him, you're wanting the wrong things. The manager has to play to the strengths of what he's got available for that team. You know, he played to his strengths at Chelsea, naming 2 goalkeepers because he had nothing else. On his sub bench. Why can he not play to his strengths with what he's got fit?
Yeah, well, we've got loads of people wanting to get in, mate, so we're going to move on. I'm actually looking forward to this next one because he's always in the comments, but we ain't had him on before, so I'm looking forward to having a chat. We've got James Fever with us. How you doing, mate?
James, how you doing, bud? You good?
How you doing, mate? Yeah, I totally agree with everything what Baz just said about like everything. I applaud you, mate. At the end of the day, right, that team in the first half was an absolute insult to every West Ham fan up and down the country. Insult. 2 attack-minded players out of 11. It's an insult at home. And we're playing 5 at the back against Brighton. Come on, we're better than Brighton, right? We are a much better team. We're a much better attacking team. We've got better players. We're a better unit. And I'm not being funny enough. Think how we got in at half-time 1-0 was fucking a Christmas miracle. Do you know what I mean? At the end of the day. And the way I look at it is, what has Ben Rama got to do to get in his team? Lanzini scores a rocket against Spurs. We don't see him again. We just don't see him again. And like Moyes, his stubbornness is the reason why this team will never end up getting into Europe. It's as simple as that. I don't know about you.
I agree with you, what you just said, the stubbornness. I stopped going to watch us November last year when we was 3-0 down against Spurs through Pellegrini's stubbornness. And I would have ended up getting myself in trouble with being in the stands with the owners, etc. And I didn't want that. I'd take my niece, so I had to stop doing that. I couldn't ever put her in that position. And you're totally right. The stubbornness is it. And David Moyes is exactly what Pellegrini was. He knows one thing. If it doesn't work, there's no second option. The option isn't there. You know, even today, to get back to 2-2 in that match today, to not introduce another attacking fast player in a game that had no pace, the game weren't fast. We could have put pace into that game and confused them and not do it. That goes to show me exactly what
When
David
I
Moyes
hear,
is. And
when I
someone's
hear,
sorry.
when I
Someone's just
hear,
put in the comments. Someone put in the
yeah,
comments. It's not David Moyes' fault. It's the owner's fault. You're right. You're
no,
totally right. I agree with you. But unless David Sullivan's in there now, telling him what team to pick every single week, that team selection today is the manager's fault. If the owner's doing that, then that's also David Moyes' fault for allowing that to happen, and that man needs to walk.
listen, when your bench is stronger than your outfield, right? You've got more attackers on your bench.
There you go.
Right? There you go. There's your answer straight away, right? At the end of the day, I heard like people saying about a 5 and a 4. Personally, I would play 5 away from home, be compact, be solid. At home, I want us to be 4-3-3, attack minded, like, and go at teams. Why are we playing 5 at the back against Brighton at home, right? Who are down there, and it's just an insult. It's an insult. It's a total insult.
You've just asked the cake for me because that is it. We should have been looking at that Brighton team today thinking they've got 2 attacking players on the pitch. They've come to get a draw. And instead we've looked at our side and thought, right, where do we get goals from? Because all we're trying to do is stop Brighton scoring. Embarrassing, mate. That is everything the manager.
Do you know what does it the most? Do you know what does it the most? We bring 2 attack-minded players on. Brighton have to think about it then, right, about going forward. As soon as we bring 2 attack-minded players on, like Lanzini and Yarmolenko, they're not bombing forward. Let's be honest, they could have been more than 1-0 up at half-time. Amount of crosses they was getting in the box, and like we got 9 defensive players and we couldn't defend crosses in the first half, which was like unbelievable. And Bowen was running back, defending more than a lot of people. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then Gary Neville summed it up brilliantly. We are set up to play against Real Madrid. Like, you can't make it up. Like, Moyes, I agree with you. Like, after today, I thought he was doing all right, but he's done it for me today. Like, to go, and we've had 6 days rest and all. Like, it's not like we've had like 2 days. If you'd have gone with that team against Southampton, I could have gone, all right, fair enough. We've played Brighton, we've got Southampton, we've gone like that. It ain't the right team, but I can understand it. But to give 6 days rest, you've got Yarmolenko who had COVID. Like, that's the reason why he's been out. He had COVID, he's come back. Lanzini, not seen him. Ben Rama, he's in, he's out. We played the best football we did at Leeds, and we outrun Leeds. And for some reason, some crazy reason, he wants to play 5 at the back. Ben Johnson on the wrong side. It's just, mate, trust me, the joys of being a West Ham fan. Trust me.
I think you've hit the nail on the head, mate. I think you've hit the nail on the head. It's all too complicated.
Yeah. It is. It is. Like, we are, listen, right, at the end of the day, right, I respect any West Ham fan because they've all got their own opinion, right? But we are 1, or if not 2 injuries away from being in serious trouble. If Rice gets injured, right, or Souček gets injured in that middle, then we're in trouble because who do we play?
We've been very lucky with them 2, mate. Rice has played every minute of every game for 2 seasons. That's very, very unusual. And Souček is coming on to do the same. At some point, you will lose one of them. It's inevitable. You will lose one of them at some point. When that happens, what do we do?
Honestly, mate,
I know the answer.
Martin,
basically, if you get,
I know the answer.
We'll be in trouble, mate. It's as simple as that. We'll be in trouble because we will get overrun. Right, last year.
You're mad. We won't be in trouble. We will not be in trouble because what we do is our manager will get our goalkeeper to play out of position and play centre midfield. That's what happened because that's what we do with our right backs. We put them on the left. But it seems all right. And then
to be honest, it wouldn't surprise me if that injury come if you saw Snodgrass in the middle there. That's what I reckon you'd see.
Yeah. It's just madness. Do you know what? But what does it the most and what hurts the most really, right, is the fact that we've done really well this season. Right, we looked like we were progressing. Right, against Chelsea, we had no cutting edge. Right, I can understand the 5 across the middle at Chelsea to try and stop the midfield. Right, whatever. Right, they scored 3, it flattened them massively. Right, we've been lucky in so many games this year. Villa, Fulham, who else is it? Palace. We go 1-0 down and like we managed to scrape it back. We've got away with a lot of results this year, against teams, and we haven't, like, when have we really blasted the team out of the ground? Like, even Sheffield
Leicester.
United,
Leicester and Wolves. Leicester
and them too, but then even Moyes wasn't even in charge.
Yeah, that's right.
It was in charge.
They're the two we better
games.
move on, Baz. We've got a few people queuing up, but James,
Sure,
really
man,
good
James,
to see from you.
it.
Really good having you on, mate. Really do appreciate it.
Thanks
for coming on, bud.
Top man. Thank you very much. Liam, how you doing, mate?
Yeah, good, mate. You?
Yeah, not too bad. I was feeling a bit better before the game.
Has he dyed that beard? He's got dye in that, look.
No, definitely not. Definitely not.
Look at this, mate. Get the badger beard out. What's your feelings after today?
I don't know. When I saw the lineup, I thought, we're playing Man City, not Brighton. Let's be honest. The way we lined up, there was a bank of 3, 5, depends how you want to look at it. And then we had the 3 midfielders that all played the same style of football. All 3 of them. No one had creativity. No one had nothing going forward. Bowen was lost. Bowen was lost playing like in the first half because he just had nothing around him playing the same sort of football.
Mm.
Do you think he was right to be brought up? Moyes was right to bring him off at half time then?
I called it. I said, we'll probably take off Bowen and bring on another attacking player. And we did. I don't think we should have took him off. I love Noble, don't get me wrong. I don't think it was a bad thing to start him today. But at the same time, I would have took off Johnson. Don't get me wrong, he scored a good goal. But I would have took off Johnson and Noble and brought on Benrahma and Lanzini. Because there was just no creativity in that midfield going forward at all.
Yeah. I mean, I've been screaming for Fornals to be dropped, screaming. And I think he hasn't been doing enough for me. But again, we have agreed that it's because he's not played in the right way in the current system and everything else. And then today we go and sort of have Ben Johnson out in that sort of role. And while I think you've got to give the boy a bit of credit. He's come out there, he's tried his best today. He's got on the score sheet. Without that goal, you don't win the game. So I give him credit there. But I'm almost regretting screaming for Fornals out now, which will probably be back to Baz's ears, really. But I think we did lack any sort of creativity going forward. I thought we lacked. For me, Benrahma was the brightest player that we had playing in that sort of free role behind Hilaire. I actually thought there could have been a partnership to be developed there. I feel like Benrahma almost sort of played a couple of balls into Hilaire. I thought that was a real positive. I thought given time, those two could link up really, really well together. And I was excited to see if we would see the best out of Hilaire playing Benrahma in behind him. All of a sudden, Benrahma cannot get anywhere near the football pitch. Not only did he not start today, but he don't even come on as one of the substitutions today. What has gone on there, mate? Why is do you agree? Do you think Benrahma should be someone? Is that why we're lacking creativity? Because we're leaving our creativity on the bench? And if so, why ain't we seeing him? What's happened?
The thing is, with Benrahma, I think he's got that little bit of skill about him. I hate to mention his name, but he's a bit like the Payet sort of player. The little bit of skill, creativity. It's just the experience that's not there. He's not Premier League proven. It's just getting that chance. It's having that game just to prove himself that little bit more, to have that little creativity. But I think players like Lanzini, Bowen and Benrahma together could bring out the best in Benrahma. But at the same time, it's just him getting that chance. I think with Haller up top, he don't do a lot. He don't do a lot of movement. But I think if you play Antonio up top, Benrahma out wide, that link-up play could be a different story, different creativity. I just think it's just that little bit more we need out of the team going forward. The way we lined up today was just shocking in the first half. Shocking.
I think you're right. I think Benrahma done enough at Leeds to prove that he's good enough to start in the Premier League. Certainly good enough for West Ham, that's for sure. I don't think we're too good for Benrahma. That's a fact. And
Toby made a great point there, Baz, which might lead you on to your next point. But there was no reason for Benrahma to be dropped after the Leeds game.
But there was no reason for Haller to be dropped after his goal at Sheffield United and scored a winner. Right. But this is what the manager does. The manager has favourites. The manager's forced to be playing Haller at the moment. We know that. because there's nobody else. That doesn't make Haller a bad player. I have this argument. It makes him a terrible player for the way we set up, but not him a bad player. It doesn't work. And this is the biggest thing. As fans of the club, and it's in this chat right the way through, we all know it's not working with Haller as that front man. We don't create chances. So what do we do today? What does that manager do today? Everything that could and does and can create chances sits on our bench.
Yeah,
Against Brighton and Hove Albion at home. And you're telling me you want me to see that man be given a contract? That today has done everything. I said this morning on our show that I wanted him because I wanted him. I wanted him to get the contract because that's where West Ham's at. Mate, I don't care who manages West Ham if that's what I'm going to have to watch every week as a West Ham fan and watch players just go to waste on the bench. I wouldn't care. I don't care if you're in charge, Liam. I wouldn't give a shit, mate. If you're the manager of West Ham playing West Ham's better players to try and have a go at games and be involved in games rather than walk off the pitch at half time against Brighton at home to have had a third of the ball and not a shot on target against the team, fourth from bottom in the Premier League.
Yeah, it's disgusting.
That's the manager's fault.
The thing is as well,
don't blame VAR for their goal. Don't blame that. No, it shouldn't have stood. Don't blame that. Blame the manager for being so naive and negative before a ball was kicked for putting the worst possible 11 out he could have. That's what the problem is, not the fucking VAR, the handball. The problem is the man who picked that team, and he picked everything wrong. And he deserves every single bit of blame he gets tonight because, believe me, he's had a lot of praise from people for the things he done right, and rightly so. So make it right and give him the grief tonight because he got it completely and utterly wrong today. Everything from start to finish was wrong.
the thing is as well, how many times in the first half did our back four get the ball, panic, lumped it forward because we knew Haller was up there? Yeah, but as soon as Lanzini come on that second half, the first touch he took, he drove towards that defence. He made a couple of little passes. He made a bit of movement, and we noticed a difference straight away.
Liam, you're a defender in the back four, and in front of you is four players who do not create anything. What are you going to do? Pass them, or you're not going to pass them? So the only option you do is go long.
Yeah, and that's what we noticed.
Mate, I use this for Liverpool. Liverpool ain't a great team to watch, but what Liverpool do well is they play to their strengths. Their strengths are their fullbacks and their front three. They don't play through their midfield. They go above and beyond them and round them. They don't play through the middle of the park. And every one of our defenders today must have got the ball, looked in front of them and thought, if I pass to them, it's coming back to me. I'm going to have to go long. And what we do is we
sideways, backwards. That is it.
And that is everything that was wrong from start to finish with the setup of the game. That manager takes full responsibility for everything today. Everything, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Agreed. Liam, we've got a few more lining up, mate, so we better move on. Anything you want to say before we leave you?
No, I hope you had a good Christmas.
Mate,
man, and you, buddy. Thank you.
Not too many Jaegers, Baz, I hope.
Mate, I've not had a Jaeger, Bob. Actually, no, I'm
trouble.
not. I had one on Christmas Eve. I hate them. I didn't even want them on my birthday. I had one in August, and 4 on my birthday, but I don't drink them no more. I can't stand them. And I'm teetotal as of the 1st of January for 3 months.
Yeah.
That's
cheers,
income.
Top man.
Top man. Thanks, mate.
See you later, Liam. Right, Baz, we've got a comment in the chat that I think will lead us on to our next guest perfectly well. Ray reacts. After we scored on the 80th minute, Moyes told Ben Wright, sit back down, shows no ambition, we should have brought him on and gone for it. Now, the counter-argument to that would be that Moyes did set up for a point today because of the injuries that we've got and everything else that's going on around the club, rightly or wrongly. And actually, I think Moyes is probably very happy with, scraping a point from today's game. Jazz, tell us, mate, did he set up for a point? Are you happy with a point? And was it ambitious enough?
Oh, I don't think I'm going to be my usual jovial, comedy, funny today. I am
Get in the fridge. Jazz, get in the fridge.
No, I've got it. but I am fuming, mate. As soon as that lineup came in, I'm like, what the hell's going on here? Why are we set up like that? Why is Noble in the team? We saw against Chelsea that he hasn't got it in him to do anything. And we're playing a team that's in the bottom 4 or 5 in terms of form. We haven't had a good result against them in the previous 5 or 6 games. We're hanging on in there in 10th place on the back of some good results and work we've done up till date. Nothing made sense to me. And Lopez, okay, so the goal he scored, first goal in 9, Sky, everyone knew. Well, we know from the lineup which way this was going to go. Within 5-10 minutes, we're all screaming at the TV saying, fucking change it, mate. Come on, I can't defend you today, mate. Change it. Change it. And everyone's like, God, what they playing? Real Madrid, Man City, what they set up to do? Nothing was going right. And we're so lucky we got to half-time only 1-0 down. And then obviously he made the changes. I would have kept Bowen on. And we can't even argue that we've got a lot of fixtures coming up. It's kind of, some people are tired. Everyone on that bench could have started, was fresh. Yeah, Malenko, Lanzini, Benrahma, they've hardly played this season. They all could have started. And if they rested, which they did, Fornals and Bowen together, that would have made more sense to me. And then bring Bowen and Fornals on in the second half if you want it that way. I mean, Haller and Noble, for me, I think they both obviously struggle for reasons that we know. I don't know how we come away with a point. The point feels like a defeat. I'm not happy. I'm fuming. It's 2 points lost. It's not 1 point gain for me. And if you look at the next 2 fixtures away to Southampton, Everton,
tougher games.
Why didn't we go for this game, put 3 points in the bag, and then go into those 2 games thinking with a bit more confidence, and then you can sit back if you want, David, against those 2 and counter-attack.
Do you remember under Pellegrini when we had the bad time? Say bad times, and listen, you've got to remember we're 10th in the league. I think we've overachieved personally this year. I think the league's so tight, so being 10th is as good as probably being 5th with what the points difference is, or 15th. It's all so close. So 10th isn't your 10th because you're the 10th best team in the league. The division's tight, and I'll stand by that because I don't believe Everton are the second best team in the league. But wouldn't it surprise you? It wouldn't surprise you if West Ham went and got a result at maybe Southampton away, as we done with Pellegrini before when it was like talking about how bad the manager's done, go to Chelsea and win 1-0 and all's forgotten for another week. And this is what happens. I've got to be honest, I can't forget this. It's not drawing. Even if we had lost today or won today, if we had won 1-0 today, I could not forget that our manager has put us into a fixture against Brighton that defensive when he went attacking at Chelsea. What was so different? Why would you not do that the other way? I'll tell you why you wouldn't do it, because I don't think you got much about it. And today, honestly, and I'm sad to say it, because this morning I said he should be given a contract. The reason I think he should be given a contract is because, as I keep saying, he's what our level is with that ownership. I do not want to see that man sat in that chair all the while them 2 people own this football club. I don't, because I could not sit and watch that football week in, week out. We all moaned about Big Sam and we wanted him gone. That ain't no difference. Setting up with 8 defensive players at home, no difference.
I think you're absolutely right.
Have you changed in any way with the Moyes? Is the man to take us forward? What if the contract situation? Do you still give him the contract now, or do you wait until the end of the season and see where we finish up, or do you think he's shown enough to be given that contract already?
What's worrying me now is that the team lineup today you would normally do if you're struggling at the bottom, and we're not. Yeah. So when he came in, I thought he's the right man in terms of stability, all the things we say about hard work, a good setup, tough to beat. But the next stage, naturally, because Baz touched, we have history. West Ham have history of playing good attacking football going back a lot of decades. And we're not, okay, once we're safe, it's in our blood. We want to go for it. Thunder and let's go for it. So I thought the next movement would be that we're going to begin to show a bit more attacking players in there, take the game to the team, but we're going in reverse gear. Yeah, and if David wants to go down that route, it ain't going to end well. It ain't going to end well. And he's very lucky he got this job. He seemed, I hope he's still a good fit. It seemed to fit his situation, our situation. But as you know, things can change quickly. The players do like him. They are playing for him. But today they were flat as pancakes. And the only thing I could tell was that him and Benrahma been on the piss last night. He didn't pick Benrahma because he's pissed. And David
was he wearing your house?
And David Moyes didn't realise what team he's put out. He's like, fucking hell, what have I done there? Baz. I'm a bit worried.
But even
Yeah,
more unusual is
yeah.
this whole Noble coming back into the starting lineup. Do you get Noble in the starting lineup?
No, but then we don't. We want to remember the Noble that we know. If he keeps on playing him, we're gonna remember him over these two performances. At Chelsea, he didn't do anything. Today, he's just running around like I would do in a five-a-side, not kicking anything, just messing around. He was lost. He didn't offer anything. And as soon as Lanzini came on, it was the old Lanzini skating on ice, looking for the ball, spinning it, wanting it, creating stuff. It's worrying. I mean, God, we got Everton and Southampton next.
And we had a chat about this morning, Jazz. We all said, do you know what? I think Moyes has earned the right that when these injuries come along, if he had just gone for it and tried something different and tried to be attacking and tried to be creative, we've got enough points on the ball. Don't matter if we'd had a few losses. But I think we'd have all given him a free pass. If he would have gone out there to win these matches, really gone for it and tried something different, maybe playing Bowen up top with Haller or playing Benrahma up top with Haller and going to a 4-2-2 or 2-2-4s or going to a 4-3-3 and really attacking teams. If he'd have got beat these last couple of games, I don't think we'd have all been... I don't think anyone would have said anything against David Moyes. I think the reason why people are now calling out David Moyes is because he's been so negative. I don't really understand his approach these past couple of games. What difference is this point going to make to us, really? I'm hoping that this point isn't going to make a difference to us, so surely we can't have a change of form so much so that, you know, we're going to be chasing this 40 points down. But I just think he had a free pass to show us what he's made of as a manager these last few weeks, and he hasn't done it.
You're absolutely right. I think even against Chelsea... Yeah, go ahead, sorry.
3 points today and a win against Southampton puts them well below us. So why are we approaching games like this? No, listen, I'm going to say, because I keep... Sorry, Jazz, I've just seen comments coming up with people saying about it's mad, the talk of Moyes out, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to... Because it's only been me who's saying it. David Moyes isn't the problem at West Ham United Football Club. The problem is what owns it. That is first and foremost, in my opinion. What comes with it is who they want. David Moyes is the manager they want because he ticks every box for them, doesn't demand stuff, will accept any sale and any player that's given to him. That's why David Moyes is West Ham manager. That's why I said I'd like to see him get the contract, because I don't believe there's anyone else that soft in football who would do that this day and age. David Moyes, as Frankie said many times, couldn't get employed anywhere else in football. Was offered the opportunity at West Ham, not once but twice, and took it. And we know he ain't on great money. He probably ain't on the money that a reflection of what Premier League managers should earn. The job he done after lockdown and at the start of this season, securing West Ham in the Premier League last year and making the start so well was very, very good. I will not say no different to that. However, when we got injuries was the test of David Moyes, and that test is being proven. And he cannot cope without having the key players he needs for the only system he knows. If he did have, we'd probably be seeing a different outcome in games now, and see us competing and trying to score goals in games, not being a defensive side. He doesn't have it. What he can't do, he isn't that good a manager to be able to adapt to play with what he's got. So that's why I've called out David Moyes. The fact today's game at home against Brighton, fourth from bottom in the Premier League, and we want to do well as West Ham fans, we go and approach that game with 8 defensive players, that is ludicrous. That man didn't do that last year when we were fighting relegation. We attack games. We went to win football matches. But today, he thinks it's the right to do that. For me as a fan, I don't ever want to see that at West Ham. So, as I say, if that is what we've got to come, I do not want to see that man sign a contract. But the problem is, and the truth of it is, every single thing that's wrong at West Ham, you point fingers at David Moyes for today, but if you look at the tree, it goes above him, and it goes to what owns it, because he's not been given the backing to get a squad to fulfill the way he wants to play. I completely agree with that. However, the buck lies with someone, and that's him. And that's why I don't care who's manager of West Ham, because no manager will do well underneath the ownership of them two people, all the while my arsehole faces south.
I think you're right. I think going back to David Moyes, I am fuming today, very upset, and I'm concerned, and I think I'll leave it at that. I'm not going to say anything above that. I just want to wait and see how he reflects upon this, and next 2-3 games, let's see how we set up, and then we'll find out a bit more. But we are certainly concerned. And going back to your point, it is a deeper problem. It goes back to Sullivan, I think. I think he has ruined the club. A lot of people are saying sort of when you have dual ownership of a club, it doesn't work well. Who's making decisions? Are they agreeing with each other? Then you've got that bloody Karen in the middle. She doesn't help anything. And it all goes back to what was the structure at the beginning. And we all know he doesn't want any youth structure. He doesn't want a training ground. He wants to make a quick buck. He doesn't think about the roots and scouting and all that kind of thing. And then obviously he underspent for many, many years. And then when that thing at Burnley happened, then he was forced into a corner. He hired Pellegrini. Was he the right coach? Well, we know now he wasn't. There's plenty of other good managers like the Bournemouth guy. He might have been good at that stage. And then he gave him all the money. And then they all went tits up, didn't know who the hell was buying. His brothers came in the scouts. And
sorry, just quickly.
Yeah.
Sorry, mate. Mate, T is just putting it. I don't think any side can cope without players out being, not even Liverpool. T, just remind me, where are Liverpool in the Premier League? And they've missed key players all season. Just remind me where they're sitting. Sorry, Jazz.
Yeah, and I'm with you, mate. And at the end of the day, that's what having and this is, I think, what we missed. This is it's so hard, mate, because I do think Moyes is a dinosaur. I tipped him. I said to everyone, if you give him a full season, I think he relegates you. And that was my firm belief. I think he's proven me wrong on that instance, but I do think it's a lot of to do with the coaching staff that he's brought in and got round him. I never thought we'd have 5 first-team coaches, all at top level, England, national, international level coaches that are at the top of their game. We've got some really good people around us at the moment, and I think that's really helped. But if you look at all the players that Moyes so-called wanted and then didn't want, all of them are looking like really good players. I actually think if we'd have signed the players Moyes asked for, I don't think we'd be having these issues with a lack of squad depth and a lack of personnel like we're having at the moment. So we all know Moyes don't know any other way to play. So that means it was even more important to give him the players that he needed, to have backup in certain positions, that if we did get injuries, he could bring somebody in. So that's my only slight defence of him, and I'm surprised I'm defending him in any way, because I still don't think he's right for West Ham. I never have done and will never believe it. But, you know, I do think he deserved to bring in more personnel that he asked for in that transfer window, as opposed to us going and signing Ben Rama, which is ever more apparent now that he absolutely did not want Ben Rama. You know, when we was questioning, is it because Ben Rama's with that agent that we love to use? Is it because of the links he's got with the club and everything else? Well, I think we now know that, yes, that was the case. It was never the player that Moyes went, that's the main man that I want. And Moyes is clearly throwing his toys out of his pram about that. That's why he's not playing him. So,
yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Tough. But Moyes needs to get over that fast.
And Ian's put on here, this is our level, lads. Get over it, please. You're right. And it's not a case of it being our level or not. You know, we drew with Brighton 3 at home last year. We didn't have this chat because we didn't approach the game with 8 defensive players. So it's not a case of that. And then you say Klopp spent 300 million at Liverpool. I totally agree. But that wasn't the question. The question was every side struggles without their key players. That's not quite true, is it? Because Liverpool haven't got their key players. And they're still top of the Premier League. Everton didn't have a Richarlison yesterday. How did Everton get on yesterday?
I think the thing with David
Everton
Moyes
is still sitting second in the Premier League. They're still second in the league. But they haven't had their key players. That's my point. Leicester lost Chilwell, was one of their key players, still third in the Premier League.
Yeah, they have one of the best scouting database systems around. When one goes off the conveyor belt, the next one's ready to come in. They signed Castagna, the Belgian wing back. Yeah.
Jazz, we had this chat the other night, and I can't remember if it was with you or it was just me and Frankie. You know, we're playing with we've worked out, or the manager's worked out, our best way of playing is with these wing backs. I know there's this thing at the club at the moment with isolation with the under 23s, but it's not just been today or Chelsea. Where's the youth? Where's the youth that are ready to step up? Why have we not got anyone? We're not seeing any youth names be brought in. And again, I know there's a COVID. We had to name a second goalkeeper last week as a substitute because we didn't have a big enough squad.
Well, we had Nagaki, didn't we, to be fair?
Mate, well, these are my things, and I just don't understand where everything's wrong. It does fall back to the same problems all the time. The ownership of this football club. I completely and utterly agree. Do you know what? I've criticised David Moyes for today. I really feel sorry for him. I couldn't think of a worse job. The only possible one maybe would be either Prime Minister at the moment or the England manager. They're the only two jobs that could be worse than the West Ham manager's job under the ownership of that club. But let's not forget, this is his second spell. He knew what was coming after his first spell. Didn't even get told he wasn't getting a contract renewal. Stuart Pearce said this, why he weren't invited back at first. They found out by the appointment of a new manager. That is what they're working for.
I think David Gold wanted him, and he kind of stepped in a bit to calm things down. But what's interesting with the transfer, I'll tell you what I think's gone on. When the transfer window opened, David Moyes told him, I want Matty Cash, I want Eze. And what Sullivan said was 1 in, 1 out. We couldn't get anyone out the door. And by the time Anderson left, they'd all gone. And then Benrahma's sitting there, and we know bloody Sullivan can't help himself with some of the players he wants. He said, oh, yeah, I turned him around, David Moyes. He didn't want him, but I kind of changed his mind. I sat with him, and we talked about it. In the end, he's like, yeah, all right, then I'll have him. What kind of crap is that? So all your targets were gone. When the window opens, I want us to get everyone in the first week, and we're not going to do it again. We're going to wait till the last day. And we're lucky no one else took Benrahma. We would have ended up with God knows who. And you know Dawson came in because he didn't take Tarkowski.
This isn't the first time. Let's look back to the window with Slaven Bilic when we needed a forward. And I can't even remember it wasn't that because it was a no one. Who was the forward that he signed on the transfer deadline day? Deadline day when we needed a forward at the start of it.
Zaza came in, didn't he, in those days?
It might have been him. But this is what it's been the whole time under this ownership. So I'll say again, I've criticised David Moyes for today for that team selection, that style, that performance is everything he's fault. Do I want to see that as a West Ham fan for all the while that he's going to be here? No, I don't. Not for the foreseeable future. And if that means don't giving him a contract, don't give him it because I don't want to be watching that.
And there's a really big point, mate. I agree with Adam. Do not be surprised if we don't sign anyone in January because apparently we're buying Benrahma, which comes out of that budget. But then come the end of the season, we don't actually put the money up and he fucks off back to Brentford. Don't be surprised at that at all. They've got the perfect excuse not to spend money in this transfer window because they can turn around and said, well, we've got to fork out 23 million in a pandemic for Benrahma. We haven't got any finances. And then come the end of the season, you see him disappear back to Brentford and that was their excuse. It wouldn't surprise me one little bit, mate.
Greg has just hit the nail on the head for me, completely hit the nail on the head for me today. I don't feel sorry for him today at all. He's completely nutty right. He could have played a much better side, a much more attacking side today. He had that option. He chose not to. That's why it's his fault. That's why it's not Mark Noble's fault for playing that number 10. That's why it's not Johnson's fault for playing left wing back. That's the manager's fault for picking them players in them bad positions. We as fans witnessed last week what Mark Noble could do as number 10 at Chelsea.
Yeah.
And we watched it again today for 45 minutes. That's the manager's fault. That's not Mark Noble's fault.
It's baffling. And you know, on another channel yesterday, Baz and Frankie, someone was asking me, who's that best signing going back last 5 years? Oh, God, there's hardly anyone. And when you look at strikers last 10 years or whatever under this ownership, I think Carlton Cole scored 14 in 11-12 championship season. Arnie, all these players we're thinking of, no one scored more than 10 or 11 under these owners. And they're lucky. Who's the most valuable member of our team by fluke? It's Rice, who's come from, luckily, we had him in the youth team. They didn't go out and buy him, and we hardly make money on no one. It's a shambles, and we lose money all the time. We actually pay these players off to leave, Wiltshire and people like that. It's absolute shambles, mate.
But, mate, the West Ham world's a funny old world, mate. People moan at us, right? We're sitting here, we're sitting in 10th, far better than we have been. And T's been digging us out a little bit all night, but I don't mind that. I'm happy for people to have different points of view. I'm happy for people to call us out. It's all about a discussion. Not everyone, is always going to agree. So I can take that. But, we're only sitting here being truthful that in the last couple of games, Chelsea and today, we think they're winnable games and we haven't gone and won them. Whether we're 10th, bottom of the league, top of the league, it doesn't matter. If you think they're winnable games, you think they're winnable games. And I do think we had enough to beat them, but the way that we set up was not good enough. And we should have, got more out of those 2 games, in my personal opinion. But there were other people in the West Ham world, mate. And we come on this before the game and we said, we're going to really struggle for shots on target today because Brighton don't let you have shots inside the box. Brighton then go and shut us out for the first half. We don't have 0 shots on target. You know, apparently they've conceded the second worst record for set pieces in the league. Yet we start doing short set plays and short corners. Don't understand that one little bit. But we had other West Ham people saying that we would win comfortably today and we would have loads of shots on target. That's what they said. I cannot in any way fathom how someone could have the opinion. Now, we can all have the Moyes arguments is a bit, for me, there are arguments for, arguments against. You know, whether having a good season, arguments for, all of those things. But to think that West Ham was going to walk through Brighton today and to think that West Ham was going to have a load of shots on target against that team with Ben Johnson on one side, with, you know, Soufal on the other side, with Bowen, Haller, it was never ever going to be a game where we was going to run through Brighton today, not for a second. And we've been desperately struggling for creativity in that side today. And then all of a sudden, every single player that's got anything about them in terms of creativity in our squad all sit on the bench today, every one of them. We didn't have a shot on target in 135 minutes. 135 minutes. Yet, all of our most creative players sit on the bench. I do not understand it. I cannot get my head around it. I really can't. And I think we're all entitled to sit here a bit frustrated by that. I really do.
It's not just the results. It's the manner.
Absolutely.
It's the manner of the performance. It's the manner of the Chelsea. We had lots of the ball. We had loads of it. 3-0 flatism. We've said this. We spoke about it. We had a lot of the ball and done nothing with it. We managed 6 shots. None on target. So what we knew from that game was we needed to create more and we needed to have more chances. So we moved to the next game being Brighton. That was away to Chelsea. We moved to the next game against Brighton and Hove Albion, 4th from bottom in the league, and we set up with 8 defensive outfield players. 8. And 2 players, one being Haller, who's been having a bad time anyway, and one being Bowen, who you don't get out of for 90 minutes because he always gets dragged off anyway. And again, in fairness, has been a little bit out of form of late and a bit greedy. That's what we set up with today. No one try and tell me that manager was unlucky today because we was unlucky through VAR. The manner of the approach to that football match gave us what we deserved. If you think you deserve to get a point or beat Brighton at home, with 8 defensive players, I think you've had too much drink over Christmas.
I think it was baffling and bad. You remember in the group I said, we've lost. I never say that. I looked at the lineup, I said, we've lost. I was that appalled about it. I could not believe James. He's let the players out to dry, Frank. He's hung them out to dry. Imagine Rice looking around him like, what the hell's all this about? I know I'm all right.
And James is absolutely right here. That's called delusional. We wouldn't have scored a goal unless we brought on the subs. The last game against Chelsea, we said we will not score from open play with the side that we've put out. We didn't. We go into this game and we say we're going to really struggle to have shots on target. We didn't. If we know that, surely David Moyes knows that. Surely David Moyes knows he's got to set up a little bit differently. But you've still got people involved in the West Ham world who sat there today and said we're going to win this game comfortably and have a load of shots at goal. It is madness, mate. I don't get where people get it from. They're crazy.
And why did he wait till half time? 20, 30 minutes, the latest. He should have changed it. And we should have been 2-3-0 down, like I was saying. I don't know how we've got away with a bloody stupid point.
Because that's the only thing about today. I will take the point because we didn't deserve the point.
Jazz, the reason he waited till half time is because he hoped he could get in 0-0 at half time. That's what he really hoped. And you know what? If we had gone in at half time 0-0, I think you'd have only seen 1 change. I don't think you'd have seen 2. He wouldn't have gone that adventurous. He had to, the fact we were behind. And that's my opinion.
Yeah, no, agreed. Well, we roll on to the Saints, chaps. We've got only a 2-day break and we've got a chance to put it all right. For Moyes to give you confidence when that lineup comes out against Southampton an hour before the game, how has that got to look for you to think we're going to win this game today?
We've got to swap Noble for Benrahma or Lanzini as an example, isn't it?
Yeah, I think
and
so.
Then you got to think about Johnson. Will he start again? How do we think he did? He scored a goal, but apart from the goal,
I don't think he played well.
How do we on and off? We definitely need to go for it, I think, and then you can change it later on. And we're going to have to look at the way Southampton play and match them up. And Danny Ings, I think, as far as I know, he's not quite playing at the moment. They're playing Adam. They do certainly play 2 up front. Ward-Prowse got very dangerous from set pieces and free kicks. Everton we don't need to say anything about Everton. They're bang on it. You know, they've got world-class manager, world-class
But the
money.
same people
Yeah.
today, Jazz, the same people who turned around and said we would win comfortably and have a load of shots on goal, also said when Everton signed Ancelotti as their manager that it was a terrible move, it wouldn't work out for Everton, and it was absolutely the best thing that West Ham didn't sign Ancelotti and we got Moyes. That was their opinion. Mad.
No. He's a truly world-class manager. And when those managers become available, he would have spoken to Everton, and Everton would have said, "Listen, mate, look at the new ground plans, look at the training ground plans, look at the 150 million we're going to give you now, and another 100 million the following season." Then he looked at half the youth team, people like Calvin Lewin, the Godfrey, I think the fullback who runs.
You
like
wait
him for
until you
Christie.
see Sim, mate. Sim is going to he's going to set the
Oh,
world
wow.
alight.
I mean, I've got a
will.
lot of time for Seamus Coleman as well. I used to love Baines back in the day. That's why he chose Everton. There's no way we're going to show that kind of ambition with Ancelotti when he sits down and has a chat with us. Everyone knows that we spoke to Klopp before Liverpool, and he's like, "Oh no, I want another month off. Sorry about that." You know, in a kind of way. And David
If
Moyes,
Ancelotti would have gone down into Sullivan's sex den, mate, he could have convinced him, I promise you. Yeah. Sullivan could have put a few little brasses on a plate for him, rolled out a few birds in chains and all that, and Ancelotti might have fancied it, mate. You never know.
You never know, but it all goes down to the owners. It is, David's a scapegoat. He'll stabilise us. I still stick to my guns that we shouldn't go down under him, but anything above that, into the top 10. This was a good season, like Baz said, to have got a European place the way the league is. And the games we have lost, we're thinking, God, we should have actually won those if we actually went for them a bit more. I think the owners will miss a trick. If we don't bring in 1 or 2 quality players in January, then you're looking at 10th to 15th at best for me, and we've lost the momentum.
Do you know what?
Yeah.
It was the winnable game with going for it with your flair players. I think next week, Southampton, or the next game, Southampton is going to be very, very tough. And if we change now to go to them, they're a great side. They press you really high. Real good side. And I've got to be honest.
You won't outwork Southampton.
No. And if we go behind against them, I don't think we'll come back into it. That's for sure. No. And for me, today was the game to go and get the 3 points. Someone tweeted me before we played Chelsea. And what was the game before Chelsea? Palace was it?
Palace, was
it? I think it's Palace. Yeah. Someone tweeted and asked me to put a poll out. Now, listen, I'm not digging them out at all, but the tweet was, what game would you rather win, Palace or Chelsea? Why are we rather winning any?
Yeah. What's all that about?
Why are we rather, why would we rather be defensive today but attack Southampton? If anything, you'd rather attack today and be defensive the weekend against Southampton and try and hit them on the counter. But we ain't. We've approached the football match today with 8 at home against full from bottom with 8 defensive players.
But like you said, don't forget the bench was fresh and full of talent. There were some talented internationals on that bench who haven't played this season. So there was no issue over tiredness or anything like that. No. Yeah.
But Jazz, the same thing. The same thing with our bench, Jazz. We watched Yarmolenko come on today. You ain't featured for God knows how many games.
Yeah.
But we've been watching Ben Rama come on. Why all of a sudden is it a complete and utter difference? And he don't feature at all, but he does for 45 minutes. We ain't seen Ben Rama come on at half time in any game. But we're watching Yarmolenko come on for 45 minutes. We watched Ben Rama come on for 4 or 5 minutes. Try and change that for us, mate. We need you for these. Try and get us out of it. Yet today, when it's 2-2, we have that opportunity after scoring on 82 minutes, whatever it was, to go and push on for the winner. Now, take a seat. Go and sit back down, which your initial comment was to come on in. Go and sit back down. We've got a point. Let's hope we don't concede another.
Yeah.
I have been... He has... I haven't looked at his after-match interview, Dave. Before I came on here, I don't think Sky did it. I fast-forwarded. I couldn't find it. They went straight into the Liverpool-West Brom game. I'm going to look forward to this interview big time. And I hope the interviewer asks the difficult questions we're talking about right now. What the heck? Like, in a nicer way, obviously. What were you thinking of? Like, I would really want to know what he's going to say. That will cover him. And I'm astounded. I followed football for a lot of years. I ain't got a clue what went on. I mean, why would you do that? You've got momentum. You got a lot of the fans slowly sort of coming your way. What? I can't understand it. And I know the coaches normally will do have a reasonable say. The final says with the manager. You got some strong boys in there, Nolan, and he would have said, "Whoa, what's going on here, boss?" I mean, I don't know.
I think the hard thing is, mate, I thought about that earlier on, and while we have got 5 very good first team coaches there, mate, it's no different to, you'll know, in the roles that you have in your career, mate, that if you've got a boss, it's very hard to tell them what to do. I don't ever see Nolan going in there and saying, I think you should play this way, or Nevin going in there and going, I think you should play this way. I think Moyes ultimately is in charge. I think he's the man. I think he picks the lineup. I only think that they're there to consult with Moyes once he's already picked his team and got his team ready. It's very, very difficult to march in there and tell your boss you think they've got it wrong and you know better, because you know that's not your place. So while I think the coaches have worked really well in making us more drilled defensively, making us more organised, in making us fitter, I think our fitness coach has worked really well, and I think we've got some good influences around that dressing room now in Stuart Pearce and Kevin Nolan. Ultimately, I still think Moyes is your main man, mate, and I still think he's the man who every now and then just shows the reason why some of us are a little bit sceptical about giving him that contract. Forget whether Moyes is right long term. In the short term, what we need to know is Moyes going to continue as our manager when his contract ends? That's what we need to know. And at the moment, every now and then he just shows these little things that you just go, and this is how mad it is. 2 weeks ago, I think 90% of fans were in agreement that David Moyes should get a contract. Today, I'd be very surprised if he's not back to 50-50. So he just has this habit of making these mad decisions and having these crazy ideas, and you go, oh, what's he done there? And you just lose your confidence. So
do you know what I'm thinking about? Do you think overconfidence is setting in David the way we've started? It's all working out for me, whatever I do up to sensible point, and it'll work out again. And every time we're in a good position, we never kick on. Bilic's first season, Pellegrini's first season, and now we were up to the point where the window was going to be open, and we were ready to kick on into the top 10. Let's get close to 7 if we can, crazy as it sounds. And after today, we're all deflated. It's a typical West Ham again, like the Christmas tree.
Let me ask you both a question. Let me with a transfer window coming, not only round the corner. If you're Declan Rice and you're witnessing your team set up performances like that, you keen to want to stay and be part of that?
No.
I ain't.
Flat,
I wouldn't be.
Because all his mates, we know who they play for, all the top teams, don't they?
That's right.
You wouldn't have much interest in wanting to stick around playing football like that for the rest of your career, would you? But we called Declan Rice out wanting to stay. Let me tell you something. If I was him, I'd be thinking, get me away from this style sooner rather than later.
What I love about Declan Rice's interviews is he's like us. He doesn't act. It's all there. When he's happy, you can tell. And if you'd seen him after today's game, you could have read his face like a storybook. He would have been pissed off, saying, well, you can't defend this. You can't defend anyone. The players are out there hung to dry. I mean, you look at the lineup, you're thinking, what the hell's going on here? No, it doesn't make any sense. And hopefully the next game isn't too long, a couple of days here and there and get over it. But it's just shocking, mate. Yeah, we've lost the momentum. Mate. Yeah.
Well, I hope you had a good Christmas, mate. We've got one more guest to bring in. So thank you for coming on again, mate. It's always
no problem, mate. Take
pleasure.
Care.
So I appreciate that. And
cheers, Joe.
Take care. No problem. Take care,
mate. Soon, mate. See you
later.
later.
Bye.
Bye. Right, we've got one more, mate, before we wrap things up. We're going across the pond to see if he sees it any different. It might be a little bit different because it's soccer instead of football. But let's find out. Kyle, what did you think today, mate?
Hey, how's it going again, fellas?
You good, mate?
We're
good. I got it steady this time, so I shouldn't be shaky.
What time is it over there, mate?
Just about 1.
About 1. No, you're all right. So you didn't have an early start today, did you?
Oh, no, man. It was perfect. Game was at 9. So, yeah, just got up, had a breakfast, do a few things, holidays and all that. So, I did want to say, I had a few things that I, disagreed with you guys on. I have a few things I agree with you guys on.
And that's what we want. I know Give us the disagree first.
Okay. So one major. Okay. So Baz, like you just said, we haven't.
Cut him off.
Quick. Remove him.
But you said we haven't seen Ben Rama come on at halftime. And if you remember, wasn't it about 3 or 4 games ago he came on at halftime and got that assist? The first 60 seconds into the half?
Yeah.
So I do think people forget sometimes. And I was also thinking we're a little bit wishy-washy. I remember how people used to complain how our bench was full of youth and how we didn't have anybody we could bring on. and now we're sitting here saying, "Where's the youth at on the bench?" So there's things like that where I feel like West Ham fans complain about one thing one way and another thing another way. So it's not like totally disagreements, but I think people sometimes have quick memories. There's those things. I do disagree. I do agree with you on David Moyes' choice today with the lineup. I even looked at my buddies who don't even know anything about football, and I was like, well, I'm going to have an interesting morning. The only thing I could say for David is the 2 times I've disagreed with his lineup mostly, which you got to remember, he does 40 lineups a year. So that means he has 2.5% chance on if you were to want, like if you were to get every lineup to how you want it, that's a 2.5% chance on every game. Do you get what I'm saying? So it's not the biggest chance. It's not the biggest chance in the world that every game you're going to completely agree with the lineup. I do agree with you guys. There was a lot of questions in my mind too. I'm a big Noble supporter. I don't see him as a starter. I see him as an impact sub, maybe a cup game guy. When we're playing those lower league teams to keep the team focused. Those type games.
Just on your point with Ben Rama, I think you're right, Noble. Just on your point with Ben Rama, he come on against Aston Villa when we won 2-1, and he got the assist for Bowen. He come on at half time. That's when Antonio went off injured. We had a double substitution that day.
That's right. I think
his hand was full. Yeah, and when I say when was the last time, that was the only time. And the reason why do we wait till the 83rd minute? I was using that as an example half time because that's when Yarmolenko come on. Why do we wait so late to introduce him? Yeah, but if Yarmolenko had been the player coming on in the 80th minute of the last few games, I wouldn't be shocked. But he's not featured. And for today, for the player who has featured to not feature, it just makes no sense. This is where I'm confused with it.
Well, here's the one thing I could tell you that you guys probably won't agree with me on. The reason why he might have brought on Yarmolenko is, in my opinion, Bowen in the last 4 or 5 games has not played well. I agree. And so maybe he wanted to see if he could possibly bring it. If maybe he wanted to see how Yarmi did today for those last minutes, and maybe that he's going to put him in Bowen's position. That would be my only okay for it, because like I said, I haven't seen he's not his crosses are not getting on target. He never gets them in. They're always getting blocked. Kind of like when Fredericks was trying to get crosses, they never got in. They're just always hitting the first man. And that was our crossing today for the first half. I think our cross hit the first man every single time except one, and then that one went all the way, even past the far post and all the way out. So, and Soufal, his crossing has not been there for the last 3 or 4 games. I mean, I don't think he's had a cross on target in the last 4 games. So I think there's some things that people aren't saying, and that's not helping Haller. I mean, and so I just think people are not seeing everything, and people need to step back and start breaking down. Because if we're going to break down statistics, like I said with Bowen, I know everybody loves him, but if you were to look at his statistics, the last 10 games, they're not pretty.
He's got greedy. I've said that, and just to clarify my point, because people keep saying on about him coming on. He did come on against Fulham. He come on in the 70th odd minute then as well and made a difference. So that was my point completely. Yeah. Why was he not on at half time today? Why did we see Yarmolenko? I used the half time as an example, as I said, because of the others featuring. But Kyle, I agree with you, mate. I do, and I agree with what you're saying. The thing with Bowen, for me, I think he's got very comfortable.
Because he's paid for it. He's paid for it.
He's not a bad player. You know what I mean? And he's a player I want to be starting for us every week. But I just want him. I want him to be the Jared Bowen that used to graft hard for the team, that used to want to put a ball in the box for the team, not for Jared Bowen. And that's what I think we're seeing now. And that, again, there's nothing against him. That's just my opinion. And again, I don't know why.
He needs to be on his toes. Yeah, he needs to keep on his toes. He's gotten comfortable. I totally agree.
Maybe he's tired, mate. Maybe he's tired because he doesn't finish football matches. We know that. He never has. You used to watch it together, him and Antonio walking off arm in arm behind the goal, walking around it. He never finishes a game. I don't know why. Is it because he can't play 90 minutes and he needs a rest? If so, today was the day you rested him if he needed a rest.
Apparently, and I don't know whether it's true, Baz, but on the grapevine, Bowen has been carrying a bit of an injury for the past 3 or 4 games, and
I mean, it could look at Arthur. Arthur had
hasn't
an injury,
been
and we
the
had no
same.
clue.
No,
You know,
that's
I mean, and that's what I was going to say too. Today with the lineup, maybe there's some stuff going on behind the scenes. You know, we don't know. Maybe some stuff happened at the training ground. Maybe somebody had some incident. And so that's what I'm just saying. We don't know everything. And when I said earlier, I know you guys heard me say, "Oh, it's one game. Don't be Debbie Downers." What I kind of mean was like, this was the first game where I completely disagreed with the lineup. The last couple games, like even Manchester United and Chelsea, we fought for 60 minutes and then decided for 10 minutes to just all not play and let them score 3 goals. It was basically identical. And then we're like, oh yeah, we'll try playing the last 20 minutes again. And so it's like so I mean, we fought for 60 minutes. So that's what I don't get on those 2 games. It's like, it kind of worked, but it's just, I think people need to remember, we are West Ham, where we're coming. And I would like to see David get a couple years. I'd like us to see us have that Everton period that they had with him and now that they're having now. I think we need it. You get what I'm saying? I think that period then.
Do you think that's possible under the ownership of this football club then?
Yes and no, only because of the COVID situation. That's completely changed the game for everything. And so people might not be buying clubs. You get what I'm saying? Like that could have.
I do, but I do get that. But do you think David Moyes can get at West Ham what he got at Everton under the ownership he's got here?
Well, he didn't get a lot of money there at Everton when he was not really. I mean, he found Mikel Arteta and he found Fellaini. He found those guys for nothing.
All right, the money then was a lot different. It wasn't as expensive as what the climate is now. I give you that. I agree. But do you think all right, forget the money. Do you think he has the control at West Ham he had at Everton? Because I don't, not for 1 minute. And I think that was proven with Ben Brahma.
What you just said, Baz, is spot on. Because I actually think the players that we were linked with in the transfer window that I think was clear that David Moyes did want and had as his priorities, they wouldn't have broke the bank. Matty Cash wouldn't have broke the bank. I think he went for like 10 million in the end or whatever it was. We didn't have to go and break the bank to bring in the players Moyes wanted. So it weren't like the board had to go and make significant investments, but the board still, even though it wasn't breaking the bank, still didn't want to do it anyway.
And also, Kyle, I respect your opinions, I do. But when you say there could be other problems at the camp with injuries, whatever, I give you that. Nothing stays secret at West Ham. We all know the under-23s have all got a problem.
Well, Arthur, did you guys know about Arthur? I didn't know about Arthur.
No, I didn't. I'll give you that. I didn't know about that. And the problem... But you're right, I agree with you there. But we know all about the under-23s all being isolated. Because these things are told to us. We knew why he had to name 2 goalkeepers last week for that reason. And when he named his team today, he would have said, when he was asked why in his pre-match interview, he would have said, I've got problems. He would have said it because he wouldn't have allowed, unless he believed in that team that he'd done, which I think he did, he would not have named that side and gone with that. Not at home against Brighton if it was for problems. If it's because what he believed he thought would get us through that game, which I think that is the answer, then he wouldn't have make any excuses. If that was because that what he was left with, then he would have made a reason because he would have covered his own back. And we know as fans we don't get secrets at West Ham.
And the other reason too, I wouldn't have started Johnson, but I also could see Johnson was probably sitting there chomping at the bit, for the last, what's it been, 2 months since he's played a game. Mm-hmm. So, if he's like, hey coach, if I'm not going to get a start against one of the worst 4 teams in the league, when am I going to get a start? You get what that's what I'm saying. There's so many. There's so many factors.
How weak's the manager? How weak's the manager if he allows that to happen? Then?
No,
you want him in charge of West Ham? Because I don't. If that's the case, if a player like that can come to you and say, "Gaffer, I ain't getting a game," and we've got 4th from bottom in the league now. I want a game. All right, son, you can come into this one. If your manager's allowing that, then that's an even bigger problem.
I do get it. It's different.
Mazuaku's hurt. You know what I'm saying? I was saying Mazuaku's hurt. He's trying to find someone for the position.
Carl, your point was a good one. I think it's not about whether a player demands to start or not. I think over the last couple of games, we've had a few players who've gone a bit stale. You mentioned one, Bowen. So there are players who will be chomping at the bit. You named Ben Johnson. Maybe not Ben. Maybe even Lanzini. I think we saw it in Yarmolenko today. I think Yarmolenko come on and looked really bright and like he wanted to try. So I think we do have some players who are on the bench who are chomping at the bit bit to get some game time, and have been really isolated from the team because Moyes loves sticking with the same 11 week in, week out. They don't get a look in. They don't even come on as a substitute, to be quite honest, most of the time. Yeah. So, because you don't like making subs. So, I think it's not so much that a player demands to be wanted to play, but I think we forgot that we have got players who can do a job sitting on that bench at times. And sometimes when it gets a bit stale, fucking give someone else a go.
Yeah. You know, and I was just saying, you know, we've only got, you know, we're almost halfway through the season. You get what I'm saying? And I think this is Johnson's third appearance. So, you know, as he's growing up, you know, I was hoping to see him maybe 8 to 10 times this year. You know what I mean? So
and we probably should have done.
And so that, you know, that's where I'm seeing Moyes, like maybe, you know, that like, you know, I know we've got Southampton. So maybe he was like, he thought he could have a little bit lesser defensive team today against Brighton than he does against Southampton because they're firing on all cylinders. But, you know, it's just it's one of those things where we're not the manager. Like I said, I think there's a million factors when you become a Premier League manager that we don't think of. And that's kind of what I was pointing to is I do think we need to remember it's Christmas time. I know it's not a normal Christmas Boxing Day period and everything like that. But, you know, we've got a lot of games coming up and we have done well up until this period. It's our best Premier League start in the last 5 years. And as far as I can tell, I mean, the boys are fighting for each other. That's what I really like. Yeah. Like, look today, even when we go down, the boys are together. That's what I care about. As long as the boys are out there and they're fighting, that's what I like. See, I know you guys said we weren't happy with the wins, like scrapping it out. But I remember when we were always losing those games, and we were like, "Why can't we just scrap some of those wins out?
Yeah,
why can't we fight with those?"
Said in our WhatsApp group today, Elton Steve said it, and he said, at the end of the day today, when we went 2-1 down, we don't get back and get that second goal. We've never been the team that when you don't deserve a goal, pops up and gets one out of nowhere. We've never been a smash and grab side. We've never been like that, West Ham. We've never been teams. And this season is the first time in my memory of being a West Ham fan that we've got things out of games when we didn't deserve it. First time ever. And it is down to character in the fight.
Yeah, the end of last season and then carried
and it is down to
that.
And no, I don't think anyone's knocking that bit. But I think the most criminal thing that happened today was Sebastian Haller, and don't think I'm digging him out here because I'm not. He had one shot today in that whole game, the whole time he was on the pitch. 75 minutes to go. You're 2-1 down. You go to 2-2. You're desperate for a win, in my opinion. I want to go and win that game. Ben Rama's sitting there. For me, I put him on. I take Haller off. I put Ben Rama on. I go on, son. Go and get us a winner.
I would have taken Johnson off. To do it. I would have taken
whoever you want to, however way you want to dress it up. Yeah. But that's why, and we've made the point multiple times tonight, I genuinely believe David Moyes wanted a point today, and I genuinely believe he's over the moon going into that dressing room tonight with a point. Because if he wasn't, and he wanted to go for the win, he would have thrown attacking player on at the end there to try and go and get the victory, and he didn't. So for me, I honestly think David Moyes is happy with the outcome today.
And just to go against these comments in the chat, like with Moyes the scapegoat, let's not forget, this is the first time we've questioned David Moyes. And the rest has all been praised. I wouldn't put it down as a scapegoat, but what it's down to is being realistic. And that team selection for anybody today, being realistic is negative. If you think that's a positive team lineup, then you ain't being real.
But Baz, can we agree that this is the can we agree though that this is the first time you've completely disagreed with? Like I've had
100%. Yeah.
And so like I mean. Like that's what I'm trying to say is like maybe you know let's see like you know the guy said Jazz like what he said maybe let's see how the next 4 or 5 games go and then
Kyle, you're right. Kyle, you're right. The only thing I'm going to say and I will say this and I'll say it from my heart, we all knew as supporters what we watched last week. We all knew Mark Noble is not a number 10. We knew it. We've continued to watch
at any position. He's not a starter at any position.
And we've continued to watch it. That tells me that manager's weak and don't have many ideas. We're watching a right back be played at left wing back. We're watching a forward in Haller being exposed week in, week out for it not working, yet we continue to do it. Because all his answer is, that's all I've got. Then adapt. Change the game. Start, whether it means you've got to try and play 2 up there. We don't know how he'd work with someone else, whether it's Ben Rama, because it's not been tried. Because all he done is the same things. Because all he knows is one way. And what he does is he changes personnel and not the style of the team. That's the truth of it. And that's the biggest worry for me. And to approach that football match today, knowing we should win that game against Brighton, to approach it that defensively and hope to get on a counter-attack with no pace in that side and 2 attacking players. Honestly, mate, for me, that's the most disrespectful move he's ever made as West Ham manager, ever.
Well, the one thing I understand why you think it's disrespectful, but the one thing I think you are disrespecting is the Premier League. And I think that to sit there and say we can expect to win against any team is wrong.
No.
Because to be fair, well, no, I'm just saying if I would have gone to any bookie before the year and said, what odds will you give me that Liverpool will score 7 in a game and have 7 scored on them in a game this season, they would have given me 10, 20 to 1 odds.
You're quite right.
Like, I'm just saying, that's
quite right,
the Premier League. It's
Liverpool are playing West Brom now. Who do you think will win?
I mean, when you got a front 3 like Mane, Salah, and Firmino, of course. That's why Virgil van Dijk does not. That's why you can lose Virgil van Dijk, and it doesn't hurt them.
I think because the point is that Baz is trying to make to simplify this whole point and to simplify why we're the way we are after this game when we're 10th in the league and everything else. Is that West Ham have always people really, and this is what winds me up, right? West Ham United has got massive history as a football club. I don't give a fuck what anyone says. We are one of the best football clubs in this country, if not globally, mate. We are massive. Bigger than anyone would ever normally want to agree with. We are a sleeping giant of a football club. Our fan base is phenomenal.
We won the World Cup, man.
There you go. Wherever you go in this world, you can go on holiday to any resort globally and there'll be a West Ham fan in there, guaranteed. West Ham is everywhere. We are such a big club that deserves so much more, but what we want as fans is to try, and that's all we ever ask for. We don't want you to win. No one expected us to go and win today, but go and try and win. That's just what we want as West Ham fans. That's all we ask for. Go and try and win, and that's all we want.
The comments made from Tia again, exactly, we ain't leagues ahead of Brighton. We finished on the same points as them last season. Do you know what? If we went to Brighton, Brighton would expect to beat us at home as well. And we'd be grateful for a point away. As they would have done today, coming to us. They would have been happy with a point. And probably they wouldn't have come expecting to win. That's football. And that's what will happen. Next week, Southampton will be expected to beat West Ham. That's why they're favourites with the bookies. Because that's what you predict. No, it's not a gimme. There's nothing's a gimme. As you said earlier, Aston Villa scored 7 against Liverpool. That no one would have predicted that. Nobody. Things happen. No one would have expected us to have beaten Leicester. Leicester would have expected to have beaten us. That's football. Yeah. We should expect to beat Brighton. Not we finished on the same points last year. That's rubbish. Absolute rubbish.
The point of today is if we all said David Moyes had a free pass over the last couple of games. If he would have tried something different today, not negatively but positively, if he would have tried Haller up front with Bowen or Haller up front with Benrahma and he'd gone 2 up front, or he'd tried a 4-3-3 with 2 inside forwards and got players closer to Haller, and we went and lost today's game, I wouldn't be sitting here moaning very much. I'd be sitting here saying, do you know what? It's not a good result, but we had a go. That's all we really asked for, and that's what I think is missing.
Now, let me ask you this. At halftime, I thought we did go to 3 up top. I thought, like, for the first, 15 minutes when we were on top of Brighton, Lanzini was playing, like, basically left wing, Yarmolenko, which is why I was kind of happy Yarmolenko came on instead of possibly Snodgrass, because I knew Yarmolenko would get farther forward. And so I saw them kind of playing up front, and that's what led, that's when we got that goal. And so I was like, okay, there was 3 up top here, and Haller, he was doing a lot better. He wasn't losing the ball off the first touch. He was actually chesting it down, getting it past, actually, and continuing play.
Oh, I agree with you. I think Yarmolenko looked good when he come on, mate, and I think it was the right option. The thing is, the points that we're trying to make, CT here, T's had a lot of things against what's been spoken about tonight, and I'm all for that, and I think it's good. We like people to challenge what our opinions are. That's what it's all about. But what we need to change is us going for a cup. If you think that style of football you saw tonight, which is the only style of football David Moyes knows, goes and wins you a cup or even gets you a cup run, you are absolutely off your nut, because to go and win a cup game, mate, you've got to be that sort of side who turns up anywhere and wins, and you've got to go and win games. You've got to go and attack games. You've only got one chance. There ain't no, getting a draw tonight or having a good first half performance against Manchester United and a terrible second half performance and going, oh, well, it ain't the end of the world. We can go again next week. To have a cup run, you've got to be able to come out and win a football match. And at the moment, we're struggling with that a little bit. So, T, while we haven't agreed totally tonight and you haven't seen it how we've seen it, we're not being negative. We're not being negative. We're happy with the season we've had so far. But the point is what we're trying. The point is what we're trying to say is, at the moment, we want to see us go and try and attack games and win games. And on your point there, that you want to see us going for a cup, believe me, now we don't have a cup run with this style of football.
I will tell you this though. I mean, have we had a cup run since Allardyce? And even he didn't get us all the way, and Pellegrini didn't get us there. And neither did Bilic. So, and Bilic and Pellegrini were supposedly attacking, winning.
Agreed. And this is another point. I want to bring TT. I wish you'd come on because it would make it so much easier to have a chat with you than hiding behind a play button and hiding behind. Kyle's come on, stuck it on us, told us he don't agree with us and given it to us. And I really respect Kyle for doing it. I know.
Let me say, I'm not going on.
But I agree with you.
I need to go.
No worries, mate. But on this point, T, with that Mourinho defends. Yes, he does, but he defends with fucking good sides, with world-class players, which allows him to play that way. What I'm trying to explain to you is West Ham don't have the ability to do that. We have to go and win a game because we haven't got the players to be able to do what Mourinho does, who are all going to dig in, go and defend against a team like Liverpool. We have to go and win games, mate. That's how we are. So, Kyle, thank you very much, mate, for coming on.
Man,
it's been perfect having differences of opinions, and it's good to see you again, mate.
Top man,
happy holidays, mate.
All right, keep safe.
Cheers, mate.
Cheers, bud.
Baz, thanks, mate. It's been good again. We've gone for over 2 hours again. We're putting in that work rate and that energy. We're
Don't
smashing
sign
it.
a contract.
Don't sign a contract. Baz ain't happy. I think it ain't the end of the world, but we'll go again on against Southampton, mate. And like you normally say, quick one before we go. You normally say that will be the West Ham way, going and not playing very well here, but going and turning up against Southampton. Do you think we might have a chance of doing that?
No.
No.
No, I
Brilliant.
don't.
Happy holidays.
But no, mate, I can tell you what I don't. I can back my thoughts up.
No, I agree.
Because we don't have the personnel to play the way that the manager wants to. Yeah, and if we don't have it, we're going to see adaptations like we've done today. And back to the point, when you asked, do you expect to win a game? I think 99% of West Ham fans expected to win today, whether we finish on the same points as Brighton last year or not. But let me tell you, I reckon that 99 dropped to about 50 when that starting 11 was named.
Yeah, I agree with you, mate.
That's all you need to know.
Totally agree. See you later, everyone. Have a good
man.
one.
Cheers all. Thanks. Bye.
I'm forever blowing bubbles, pretty bubbles.